Oh my God!
What?
It's happening.
Hey.
8:45. But it's happening.
Better late than never.
Totally. Welcome to Fat Man Beyond. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernard.
Hey!
Oh.
This, ladies and gentlemen, represents the last Fat Man Beyond of my 40s.
I know Sunday somebody has a birthday.
That's right. Next time we do this show, I will be half a century old.
Wow.
50 years old, still dressed like a child.
But you got your big boy pants on.
That's true. Still earning a living. Look, I work in short pants like Mickey Mouse.
You do, but
my whole career.
I appreciate you in your second half of your career. You got a blazer on, like
That's
you're
true.
going to work.
I classed it up. Well, Mickey sometimes wore a jacket as well, right? That's right. This is the last show of my 40s, man. So
Gonna get slower from here.
this is the last time I'll be in this bar as a man in my 40s. Next time I come in here, I'll be age inappropriate.
You're gonna start to get the AARP mail, like you can eat off the silver menu.
Ooh.
Hey.
And what's the silver vegan menu like?
Just mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Here are your kumquats. Some squash.
You know, easy on your teeth.
No, man, I'm excited. First 50 were interesting. Let's go for another 50. Woo, one more ride. Then he dropped dead. No, this will be the last time we do the show before that big milestone.
I know. And then you're also doing a big ass drive-in spectacular.
The drive-in is on the day after my birthday. We're doing it August 3rd, celebrating. On my actual birthday, we're doing a live stream, a streaming 50 years, 50 questions, a streaming with Kevin Smith. The idea of doing a 50-question Q&A means we may be there all day.
I mean, I kind of expected like a 50-hour, like a live stream as long as you're fasting. So listen, I'm last bite now. Fucking stream until I eat again.
That would have been smart, man, because then I would have been distracted the whole fucking time, right? Just yapping. My mouth would have been, full of words instead of fucking yummy chow.
I've been to my share of Kevin Smith Q&As, and 50 questions could take you a week.
Yeah, it might take a while.
When I went to the Carnegie Hall one, and you answered one question for 2.5 hours.
Imagine you bought a ticket going maybe I'll get to ask him a question. One guy did.
Yeah, and the question was like, how you doing? Let me tell you, buddy.
Sit down. Okay, I'm sitting down. That's what I wanted to do for my 50th was Carnegie Hall. But in a better world, in a different timeline, where we don't have COVID, that might have happened and stuff. So, unfortunately, that may have stopped, but my aging did not.
No, son, time waits for no man.
It doesn't, or man boy. So, yeah, man, this will be it. This will be the last time. Somebody in my thread, I put up a tweet today, and the tweet was. There's some shit going on with the United States Postal Service.
Yes.
Horrible shit. And I have, special affection for the United States Postal Service because that's how I lived as a child. My father worked for the post office, and we were a postal fucking family and stuff. So, mail was always magical to me, whether it was my Marvel subscriptions coming in, or my Bantha tracks coming in from the Star Wars fan club, or relatives send you money. Aunt Barbara gives you $20 and stuff. Later on in life, my Premier magazine has arrived. Subscription service and stuff like that. The many albums that we stole from the Columbia Records house. All those wonderful mail memories. Mailing away. Star Wars had this on lock when you were a kid. Collect a few proof of purchases, mail away, and we will send you an action figure, man. You waited for that plain brown box to show up.
I ate so much cereal that I didn't want to eat just to get a Kenner action figure.
Right.
Ugh.
So at the end of the day, a great affection for it for personal reasons. Not to mention, it's a great institution of this country.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if something happens to the fucking post office, then why did Kevin Costner make the postman? The story don't come true. It's got to be the one thing that's going, even after a fucking apocalypse, There's got to be some dude who's like, we're going to get the mail delivered and shit. So I put up this tweet going like, this, breaks my heart. Like, what can we do? And, a lot of people were like, buy stamps, send all your packages through USPS and stuff. Like, don't use FedEx, don't use UPS or whatever. One person explained to me what, the GOP is doing or what they assess as being done here and stuff. In a way, as if I didn't know what was fucking going on. Like, I can't read the news myself. But then also said, you want to help? Kevin, stop being so fucking apolitical. And that stopped me in my tracks because I'm like, I made Red State. Like, I made Dogma. Like, when have I ever been apolitical? Like, just raised a bunch of money for the NAACP empowerment movement. Like, my celebrity show-off charity is the National Black Justice Coalition. If you watch any of my movies and listen to a single one of my podcasts, without being overtly political, I think it's very clear where I stand on things. But in case it needs to be said, I'm pretty fucking liberal. I don't know if anybody knows that, but
Hold on. It wasn't in my news. But
it's a hot take. Like it's I'm sure this is gonna get picked up on Good Morning America because they're like, he finally came out and said it.
Comicbook.com. Kevin Smith, liberal?
Please don't mistake. That's actually the true story. I love comicbook.com. We were talking about right before the show. Somebody was like, I saw online, somebody wrote one of those, nobody, absolutely nobody. Comicbook.com. Kevin Smith wiped his ass. All caps. Comicbook.com is they like me and they do right. Let me tell you something. You know what's kept my self-esteem going through this lockdown? Comicbook.com. Because they make me feel relevant every week. You know what Kevin Smith thinks. I feel like I'm E.F. Hutton.
What does E.F. Hutton say?
Yeah. I'm with B.F. Hutton, and E.F. Hutton says, all those fuckers leaning in. In any event, I don't mistake like me not posting the same stuff as I don't know like Judd Apatow as like me being apolitical. I don't know how to. I've never been that person. I don't talk about things that I'm not insanely well versed in. That's why I talk about trivial things. Very trivial things. You don't need one more celebrity, going like, what sucks in this country? I'm the person who is, over here trying to take your mind off that from time to time when I can, if you're into that sort of thing. But I would not consider myself apolitical. You? Do you consider me apolitical?
I don't. In our conversations and even on the podcast, like it's relatively clear. On what side of the aisle you fall. And that's not to say Republican or Democrat. It's to say liberal versus conservative. And I have always felt, in as long as I've been a journalist covering entertainment, and then finding some weird-ass back way into a corner of being part of entertainment, that, the job of an artist is to reflect the world around them. And so an artist should be, if not incredibly well-versed, at least in touch with their own feelings about what's happening in order to make art that reflects the time that they're living in.
True.
So art by necessity and artists by necessity are political. They can't be apolitical because that's the fabric of the world we live in. And whether or not you just come out and fucking say it, whether there's bumper stickers on your car, whether there's, signs in your lawn.
Oh, there are bumper stickers on the car, but they're selling Clerks. They're selling Jay and Silent Bob.
But it's one need not always shout to the rafters that you are this or that while still betraying a sense of alignment. You're neutral good, chaotic good sometimes.
I also feel like who am I converting? Like, who do you think I'm talking to out here that needs to be won over to some other side? You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I think we have a pretty liberal audience as well.
We do, but
You would know better than me. What's your take?
It was the most interesting thing happened like 5 years ago when we put up cameras. Because for the first 2 years of this podcast, it was audio only, and nobody knew what I looked like.
Right.
And then it was, oh shit, Marc is black.
That's right. Because
What?
I was never like, for the listener at home who cannot see,
visually
Marc
impaired.
is black. And then we started the show.
Yeah, FYI. This is brought to you by Grant from the Helena Rubinstein Foundation, and also the other one is black. But so when that bit of very closely held information was released, seeing the response from the audience was fascinating, because there were some people who just literally didn't know and didn't care. And there were some people who might have cared if they had known earlier, but were now pot committed.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Some people are like,
listen,
I would
I'd
hate
known-
on his ass, but he writes a good story.
Yeah, like you know some shit about the same shit that I know about, so I guess he's cool.
So in that way, you might have been a bridge.
And lots of them told me that.
Is that right?
Especially when we started covering things like Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Black Panther, and just that idea that there was a perspective that had never been part of their lives
Right.
that suddenly is, and they can, recalibrate the way they view the rest of the world. And then when we talked about, Black Lives Matter stuff and being able to use the commonality, the lingua franca of nerd as this sort of ambassadorship from people who might not feel the way I feel about things, at least we had that common tongue that we can talk.
True this.
And so it's not a political thing, but it is, you come from a different place and you might believe different things simply from your upbringing. Not that you have chosen to believe one thing or another, but people have been very warm. Like 80%, 90% of this audience has been incredibly fluid with their belief systems as it relates to sort of race and class in America. I didn't think about it that way before. I don't have any black friends. You're my one black friend. Okay.
Is that what they say to you?
Every now and again. Like, you're the one black guy that I know. Like, I'm sorry.
Somebody said that to me, I'd be like, you're in trouble. 'Cause I hate to break this to you.
Yeah. So, while I don't think this podcast is by nature political, I think that by virtue of the pair of us talking about shit every week, our feelings are not secrets.
Agreed.
And it's not a bad thing.
No.
It's not a bad thing at all. And also, we should totally save the post service. I mean,
Which is what the original point of the discussion was before I got taken down the rabbit hole of like, am I apolitical? I mean, and I'm not even saying save it for sentimental reasons. It's like, how the fuck does the post office go under? Neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow,
dead of night.
nor dead of... Yeah.
Shall stay.
And now it's like, slow that package down, would you?
It's coming too fast.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you can, for less than $1, send something across the country and believe with 100% surety that it will get there within a week is a miracle.
Yeah.
And this happened before fucking jets and planes and email and stuff. You could actually just, and the fact that you could connect the country, in some cases the world, for less than it costs to buy a bag of chips, it's miraculous. And the fact that that's not a thing that the government is rallying the wagons to protect boggles the mind. Except for the fact that we know why it's not rallying to protect it.
Right.
Because, lots of people vote by mail. And
Which is fucking nuts, man. If that's the case, if the post office is going down because of that, that's...
Yeah. I mean, John Oliver had an amazing
Yeah, I remember that
dissection
piece, yeah.
where it's like, here's what the post office is supposed to do and how it's supposed to work, and here's the legislation that got introduced, 5-6 years ago that, cut it out by the knees, and here's the new shit that's happened in the last 3 or 4 years that has made it untenable. And there's no way for it to make a profit. It was also not designed to make a profit.
It's true. It's like, what do they call it? Like a civil service? Is it a civil service?
Like a public good.
Yes. I'm sorry, we're probably way off the fucking rails here. JC, what is it? What's going on in the chat? Is everybody like, what the fuck?
I liked you better when you were apolitical.
Yeah, in your effort to be apolitical, you become very political.
People are pretty civil. People are doing okay.
Good.
Excellent.
Thanks, kids.
But yeah.
Thanks for allowing us a little bit of
And that John Oliver
50-year-old man talk.
Let me tell you about the mail. That John Oliver piece was also like the tail end of it. It's like, yeah, well, we bought stamps, and turns out that you can put your face on stamps, and if people buy it, then it goes back to the fucking post office. And it's like, hey, we should do Smodcast stamps.
I'm in. Can you still do them?
I believe so.
My friend Derek, who was the video assist artist on Jay and Silent Bob reboot out in New Orleans, the playback guy. So after every take, I'd be like, Derek! And then he would start playing the take. Because when you're in the movie and directing the movie, there's a lot of, I'm here, and now I run over here to watch it. Now I run over here to pretend. So he sent me recently a beautiful letter about working on the movie, but a bunch of stamps that had me and Jay on them, Harley on them, me and Jen on them and stuff. And he was like, they're legit stamps. You could actually use them and stuff. So I didn't know if there was some sort of cutoff, because I remember the John Oliver piece, there was some sort of like deadline or something like that. But if we can, I would totally do that.
That'd be fun. And people would buy them and use the post office.
You wouldn't even have to put them on letters, man. You just put them on your binders, your trapper keepers that you hold like this while you walk down the hallway. Your favorite Smodco podcasters.
A, trapper keepers. B, always.
Yeah, true. Schools.
Books.
Close people, non-social distance. We've got a bunch to talk about, including... I found a Quibi show that you would love.
Did not see this coming.
Yes.
Hold on.
It was the big news of the week for me.
Did you subscribe to the Quibi?
I went and I do now, because I went and did a voiceover for a show they got. The Russo brothers produced, or executive produced, a show called Slugfest, which is based on a book, which is about the history of competition between Marvel and DC.
Wow.
So, these are 8-minute episodes. They had 10 that I got to watch that were fucking spellbinding. Like, I'm not over or underselling it. Anybody who enjoys this show would enjoy that show 10,000 times more. They deep dive.
Say that, dude.
And it's true. I'm just being honest. They deep dive for 8 minutes, mind you, on like legit epic moments in comic book history. So not just the old Marvel, old DC, from the crossover to Timely and stuff. I'm talking about they did an 8-minute deep dive on the Clone Saga.
Jeez.
It was fucking wonderful. And on top of it, so it's this documentary series, and you know how documentaries do reenactments? They get fucking famous people to do the reenactments. So, at one point, Ray Wise, who played, he was in, of course, Twin Peaks, many things, but I know him. I worked with him on Reaper. He was our devil in Reaper. He played Jack Kirby when Jack Kirby left Marvel and went to DC.
That's perfect.
It was fucking uncanny. They had a few people playing Stan, including a younger person when he was Stanley, and he was working for, who was it? The two cats who created Captain America, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby.
Right.
Joe Simon and Jack Kirby are sharing an office, and it's a different person playing that version of Jack Kirby because it's younger. And at one point, they've put out Captain America. They tell the story of Joe and Jack working at Timely, and they'd had some comic book success with the Human Torch and Submariner, but Superman was fucking huge, and so they were like, "We need a Superman." And so they're sitting around trying to come up with the ideas, and finally they're like, Captain America. And so they start building the character. Joe Simon is played by, I'm such a stoner. Brandon, who played Superman.
Oh, Brandon Routh.
Yes, Brandon Routh. is playing Joe Simon, and it's like wonderful. At one point, he references Superman, and you're like, that guy played Superman. The lady who was in Deadpool, who plays his girlfriend,
Marina Beck.
she plays Jeanette Kahn.
Wow.
At DC Comics, because they do an 8-minute deep dive on when Jeanette was hired in the 70s, not only the first like fucking female executive in publishing, or at least in comics, but like how they do a story on the DC explosion. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So in the like 70s, at one point, DC was like, we're going to add a bunch of fucking titles. It was like the NHL expansion league, where suddenly they were like, here's fucking way more teams than you ever had. Front camera, please. So at that point, they introduced fucking Dead Man. They introduced like a bunch of fucking characters, stuff that still plays today. But, you know, the books went right in the shitter, and the DC explosion instantly became the DC implosion. And they canceled 60% of their fucking runs and stuff, which led them to some other thing that like made them succeed or something like that, I think was the moral of the story. I just couldn't believe they were doing a whole fucking deep dive on like Jeanette Kahn. Like, that's crazy. Like, but it also makes sense. What else did they do?
Was there a workout video in there?
For which one?
Anyone? It seemed like the Quibi guys were all about those workout videos.
Nothing about working out. They that was
Jeanette Kahn be
Katzenberg.
doing a thigh master?
That was Katzenberg. He was the one who was offering Gal Gadot. What else did they do? They did the Death of Robin, the call-in, and that was dramatized. Like, it's fucking stunning. Like, a stunning achievement. It was directed by the kids that directed Batman and Bill, the documentary about
Bill Finger.
the Bill Finger doc. And it is just fucking perfection. Like, I had such a... It wasn't even like... They were like, would you want to, like, throw a voice in here? I was like, are you fucking... I'd be mad, now that I've watched them all, if I wasn't fucking involved. Like, it's so fucking good. I was like, Jesus, man. Like, when does this happen? So, look out for it. It's called Slugfest.
Did you have to watch the screeners on your phone?
I did watch them on my phone. It never once occurred to me to, like, do this shit. But they gave me a link. But honestly, after I watched them, I was like, this is Quibi? And I downloaded fucking Quibi.
Wow.
Because it was good. I was like, this is fucking tight. Like,
all that it took for them to get a subscriber to Quibi was to pay you a godly ransom to voice over a thing. And
No.
we paid you like 28 times what it'll cost you to subscribe to it.
No, not at all. All they had to do was show me a show where I was like, oh, shit, I like this fucking show.
You're doing this?
Yeah. So it's cool. At one point, apparently they reached out to me to be like on one of the reenactments. Mm-hmm. Like, I could have played Howard Mackey.
Ooh, is that who they wanted you for?
Clothes. I'm not sure who it was, man. It might have been because...
Instead they got Anthony Mackie?
That'd be amazing. Because him and I compete for the same jobs all the time.
It's the goatee.
Bobby Moynihan, I think they got instead. So, I guess like we were off doing the Reboot Roadshow tour. So to kind of get in there as anything was kind of cool. But I'm telling you, you will absolutely fucking love it. It was like it was made exactly for us. Because it's not just like they talk about when Kirby created the New Gods at DC and brought in like Funky Flashman, who was like a big poke at Stan, and how like Jack at one point in his life was like, maybe I went too far with that, because apparently it like really hurt Stan's feelings and stuff. It's so dishy and just wonderfully fucking rendered, man. They tell a story about how just imagine Stan Lee recreates the DC universe. How that happened. They do like an 8 fucking minute deep dive on that. It's crazy. And now the sky's the limit. If they get picked up, they could literally like just pick an obscure story, like or a well-known story. They did, of course, the death of Superman, and why they did this death of Superman, which. Like, they were doing the Superman is going to marry Lois. That's what they worked toward. And then Jeanette Kahn came in and was like, the TV show, Lois and Clark, they don't want them getting married because they're not married on the TV show. There's chemistry, but marriage would be weird. So they had to put aside the marriage storyline, which they built for like 6 months. Louise Simonson was interviewed, and then somebody plays Louise Simonson.
Wow.
In the it was what's her name? The girl who played Supergirl's mom on the show in the pilot and like for the first season and stuff.
Oh.
She's always on the Colbert Show. She does the first lady.
Laura Benanti?
Yes, she played Louise Simonson, and then they also interview Louise Simonson, and they talk about how after they built that storyline about like Superman and Lois finally gonna get married after fucking decades, like they had to change on a dime because of the fucking show. And out of frustration, I forget who it was, the guy goes, let's just kill him about Superman. And they were like, you know what? Like,
Mike Carlin, was that him?
It wasn't Mike, though, because he was the editor of the group. This was like a group meeting. It was another famous name. I think it was one of the writers on the book, but not the writer. But I forget his name. But I remember Louise Simonson because I was like, oh, shit, man. She was there for Ground Zero. And she told the story about, like, you know, he said, let's kill him. Let's just kill him. And then they did the Death of Superman storyline, which made them so much fucking money. Like, still one of the biggest selling comic books of all time. And, like, reintroduced Superman. Remember, everybody was going to buy those fucking, like, I'm going to buy... Like, they show this recreation of, like, Louise Simonson talking to a friend, and a friend is like, you know, we just bought 20 more issues of that Death of Superman because we're going to send the kid to college. And Laura Benanti as Louise Simonson is eating a cookie, and she's just like, oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she's like choking on her cookie because she doesn't want it. Because Louise Simonson says, she's like, you know, basically when you think about it, if there are millions of something, it's not really going to be worth anything. She's like, so all those people that were like, oh my God, he dies in this issue, this is historic, never put together that like, it's fucking 10 million of these books in existence, so how on earth is it ever going to be as popular as Action Comics #1?
Yeah, nothing is rare when everybody has it.
When everybody's got one. So I'm telling you, man, that was my favorite thing I did all week. In the last week of my 40s was watch that show because I went into it going like, all right, I'm sure this will be fine. And like, it was a page turner, man. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, oh my God, they're doing this. Oh my God, they did this story. I hope they go again, man. It's fucking dope. Slugfest, based on the book. And the guy that wrote the book, he's one of the people interviewed.
Yeah.
Michael Uslan, he gets interviewed an awful lot.
Once again, we've sold a TV show better than the people whose job it is to sell a TV show.
True. Nobody knows about it yet. I think, but this might actually be the first time. I don't even know if they, like, in the trade said,
did you just announce it?
We might have.
We got real news, you guys.
That's true. Maybe there must have been some announcement somewhere along the way.
A reason to subscribe to Quibi. Slugfest.
Get it. I'm telling you, it is. It was that fucking good.
I look forward to the Image Founders episode.
They didn't do that, and I was surprised. But they also didn't do a lot of obvious things, but at the same time did shit where I was like, what? They do this one great story. Did you ever hear this? There was this guy named Tom Fagan who was like the king of cosplay. He kind of introduced cosplay. He had there's this town in Vermont where he had this superhero parade once a year, and he put floats together, and all these people, and this is in the 70s, like 1974 or some such shit, and they got pictures. All these people dressed up like fucking comic book heroes. So you got like an Ant-Man, like circa 1973, not
That's
just
cool.
Spider-Man and shit. It's like, honestly, early proto-cosplay. It is cosplay. It's just and it's kind of a convention, like before there was a convention. So this guy would bring together Marvel and DC writers. You know, they were always like, oh, we don't like each other, but they all fucking hung out together and stuff. And so, who is it? The guys that did Batman in the 70s, Marshall Rogers and, oh man, you know, God damn it.
It's not Denny, right?
Not Denny, but, he also did Doctor Strange.
Oh, fuck.
Damn it. And we host a fucking show about comic books. This is just me being a stoner. I totally smoked his name away. Can you Google real quick? Oh, fuck. How do we track him down? What did I say? Marshall Rogers Batman. And then it'll be the other name that's usually associated with that. Either that or it's flat out Marshall Rogers, and I've really just...
It's an artist, though, right? Wasn't Engelhard an artist?
Then maybe it is. What does it say about Marshall Rogers? Say he's a comic book writer?
Was an American comic book artist best known for his work at Marvel and DC Comics
That's who
in the
Marvel.
1970s.
That's who Marshall Rogers was.
Yes.
Now click on Steve Engelhard. That's the guy he did the Batman run with. Wow, look at that. I mean,
Eating up time.
Yeah.
Steve Engelhard
that guy's a free show.
is an American writer of comic books and novels. He is best known for his work at Marvel and DC in the 70s and 80s.
Yes, this is going to
His
be
pseudonyms include John Harkness and Cliff Garnett. And we're looking for...
Did he work on Doctor Strange?
Potent run on Doctor Strange, originally with Frank Brunner, in which Strange's mentor, the Ancient One, died and Strange became the new
The
Sorcerer
Supreme. They even talked about that. All right, so what's his name?
Steve Engelhard.
Steve Engelhard. All due respect. Sorry, I smoked that away. I should know better. Steve Engelhard gives this amazing fucking interview where he talks about, like, look, it was the 70s. Like, we all did drugs. He's gone, so that wound up in the fucking work. So he talks about, he's like, that's like why Doctor Strange became the Sorcerer Supreme. He was a master of the mystic arts, but we were like, no, he needs to be the Sorcerer Supreme. And they started writing these trippy fucking stories, and they turned in it's so well dramatized as well. Because they have the guy telling the real story, and then they reenact it. They turned in this story where Doctor Strange like meets essentially God. Mm. And, you know, Stan was like, I don't need religious people down on me and stuff. So he got a letter, Stan, from this priest, this Reverend blah blah somewhere. And he said, hey man, I read that issue, and like that's what I'm talking about. That's a representation. Like, this is something you can give to kids, a powerful story with morals and blah blah blah. And Stan was like blown away because Stan read all the letters that came in. Like, he was voracious. Every one of them says it. Like, they're like, Stan and the letters, that was his thing. He believed in listening to the audience. So he brought this letter around to everybody because he was talking about killing the storyline. And then he was like, look, this came from this reverend guy, and he's saying he's using this in his church to like teach kids. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Maybe I should try some of that LSD, they have him saying. And it's Sean Gunn plays Stan.
Oh, nice.
At that age. So then they cut to Steve Engelhard going, we wrote the letter. We sent this letter to Stan because we knew he read the letters, and we knew he was very impressionable. So we wrote this glowing letter of the book from a religious person that he was worried about, and then everything went fine. He's like, we knew nothing was going to come from the comic book. Stan was just being a bit alarmist, so we just kind of assuaged the situation. It's a beautiful story, but the key of the story is they created the first crossover event in between DC and Marvel because they wrote themselves into a story that spanned 2 Marvel comics and 1 DC comic. The same characters that crossed over. So the same cats that met like the Hulk, these 3 hippie dudes, were in Batman or whatever fucking issue, whatever comic, DC comic it was, a few weeks later. Like, they did it on the down low. They never told their bosses. And when their bosses got wind of it, they were like, just don't do it again. But it was the secret DC Marvel crossover. That story alone, I was like, I didn't fucking know this shit. And I didn't know about this dude, Tom Fagan. Like, that's like kind of legit.
And also, this story is brought to you by the United States Postal Service.
That's right. Good point. It's the whole reason we started talking about this shit in the first place. Save the post office, damn
Do it. Otherwise, Stan wouldn't have gotten amazing self-written letters to justify Doctor Strange talking to God.
He's got a point. Way to tie it. That really ties the room together. Lebowski, well done. All right, shall we dive into the news?
We can dive into some news, my friend.
This bottle, empty, but green. Segue. I'm in the news this week. I'm the captain now.
You are. You are the top of the news, my friend.
Do I have the top story?
You have the top fucking
You're
story.
so sweet. Marc Bernard, and he's used to be a news hound, so he pulls the news together every fucking week right here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. This week, I make the news.
You do. In my role as the podcast Sam Eagle, I'm going to read the news.
Please.
The first item, Kev's Green Hornet news.
Yes!
I figured I didn't have to like doll up the headline.
No way.
Given that that you were going to.
What do you hear about this new project?
I hear that
New project.
I hear that the Yoga Hosers filmmakers teamed up with kids producer Wildbrain.
They led with that? Oh my God! If they're gonna lead with Yoga Hosers, we're fucked.
No, I led with Yoga Hosers. That's just
Thank
tickle
you.
me.
Thank
yes.
you.
To develop with kids producer Wildbrain to develop a new series based on Green Hornet,
Yes.
the classic superhero franchise.
This is true.
Smith has long been a fan of the Green Hornet. In 2004,
Also
he was
true.
hired to write a feature film based on the character from Miramax. That project never materialized. But
Filmmaker got scared.
did they?
Yeah, very much so. True story. One day I was like, the fuck, man? Now, it came after a meeting. I was in a meeting at Miramax in Los Angeles with a great person that ran they were trying to like start up marketing division. Not marketing. They were always good at marketing. Like merchandise, like bringing in product placement, corporate sponsors, shit like that. So, you're doing the Green Hornet. Guess what? Every car company is like, we want to be the Black Beauty. So she set up these meetings one day where I met with the toy companies, I met with the car companies, I met with the United States Air Force or Navy, the one that has a Hornet jet. So there was like a military man who came in and explained to me all the capabilities of the Hornet jet, and we can shoot with it any time we want. And we were like, but ours is a Green Hornet. He's like, we can paint it.
Yeah, and also ours is a car. It could be a jet.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if you know this story, but Black Beauty, it's a car. And I remember at the end of the day, I was like, I haven't written a fucking word. There's no script, and we're having meetings about toys and shit. I was like, this don't feel right to me. And so I spoke to the then chairman of Miramax, who shall remain, he who shall not be named. He's in jail somewhere. Voldemort himself. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, thank you for the job, but like, I don't think I have the chops to make this movie. I certainly don't want to direct it. I don't want to spend $75 million on something that wasn't my idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm ever going to spend that much money, I hope it's on something I come up with, because then at least I can stand behind that. But like, I don't think I'm the guy. And then he suggested just write it, and I was like, all right. And then I wrote it and handed it in. And at one point, John Woo was going to do it, which was kind of exciting. Much better choice for director, if I do say so my damn self. And then the Weinsteins left Miramax to create the Weinstein Company. Guys, a lot of use of the W word, man. It's a little harsh on a Thursday night.
But it's history. You got to use the word.
It's a little piece of history. So that script was left behind at Disney, which owned Miramax at that point. Over at Dynamite Comics, they wanted to do an adaptation. And so they got the script from the Trendle estate. Disney gave permission, said go ahead, but I couldn't get paid to do it for the comic book. He got paid already. I was like, that's fair. And then Phil Hester broke down my script, and Jonathan Loud did a gorgeous fucking run on the book. And I would come in and read dialogue because my script was like real old and shit. And that I thought was it. I was like, then Seth Rogen made the movie. Now there's a new movie that's coming sooner or later at Universal. So I thought that was, I did the book with Ralph, Batman and the Green Hornet, but that was, the 60s one. That was definitely Ralph-driven project. So I really thought that, I'd cross paths with Green Hornet and the Kato a team for the last time and, professionally. And yet the good folks at Wildbrain reached out to me and they're like, we're going to do like a cartoon. And I was like, it so happens that I have some cartoon experience now.
Funny how the world has led me.
Oh my God. And I
here.
had such a good time doing Masters of the Universe. I was like, I can get my head around this. So I've seen like the designs. They didn't release any of the imagery yet. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's very California. California sunset.
Is it period, this book?
It is
Can you say?
quasi-period.
Can you say?
Yeah, I can say it's quasi-period. We're going for naturally being a big fucking fan, there's one cartoon that I want to emulate, and that's Batman the Animated Series. We don't have as many cool-ass rogues, but that's still, for me, the gold bar, the high bar, whatever, gold standard. Thank you. Of storytelling, or animated storytelling, superhero animated storytelling, whatever you want to call it. Some people will be like, Green Hornet's not a superhero. I understand. So I'm
technically neither is Batman.
Yeah, it's true.
Just a hero.
Actually, like, they're both vigilantes. But one pretends he's a criminal, whereas the other is just thought to be wrongly a criminal, which is so weird. It's always weird when they're like, the Batman, friend or foe? It's like, what the fuck do you mean? How much more good can he do before you're like, friend? Clearly friend.
Oh, unless you talk to those kids who were at the Wayne Manor Christmas party, where it's like, man, remember that SNL sketch?
Oh, the SNL sketch?
Man,
you
Batman
guys talking about
broke my
Batman?
cousin's leg.
You guys talking about Batman? Yeah. Oh, he hit my cousin in the face so hard.
He broke my nose. Well, clearly you were doing something wrong. No, I wasn't. I was just walking across the street.
Melissa Villasenor at the end, she's like, you talking about the Batman? She's like, my cousin tell me the Joker's going to cut off his wiener. And Bruce Wayne's like, what? Yes. Wait, what were we talking about?
Friend or foe?
Friend or foe. Yes. Green Hornet is the guy that pretends to be the bad guy. He's like, I'm a gangster with a mask. And so he takes down criminals from the inside and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know if...
So you're going to do that whole, like...
I guess it's not a superhero.
Right. But he's a hero.
Yeah, he's a hero.
But, like, that... If it's modeled after Batman the Animated Series, which was, we have helicopters and like fat-ass cars.
They had blimps as well.
But blimps, and there's no cell phones,
Yeah.
and like we're kind of existing in this weird mishmash of noir tropes. That could be cool.
It's primarily aimed at kids, whereas you've worked on Masters of the Universe with me. That it works for kids, but that wasn't the aim. That wasn't the audience we were recording, and that wasn't...
Right. But I think that, I've been doing a really deep dive into both the Clone Wars, and I've been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, both of which,
supposedly made for kids.
Supposedly made for kids, and still totally legitimate for kids. Like, it does a bunch of shit that feels very kid-centric. But the themes and the plot and the character moves beneath it they're just good story. And it doesn't seem as if good story has an age requirement or age limit.
Good point.
And so... That's
what I responded to about Batman the Animated Series. Just good story after good story.
Like, you could be 10 years old and watch Batman the Animated Series and get everything you wanted from it.
And you could be fucking 30.
Yeah. And just like, I got everything I wanted from this because I got fucking, Heart of Ice.
That's the key. That's the model right there. And technically they were courting 8 to 12. Like, I think that was the target for Batman the Animated Series. I don't think with Masters we didn't target 8 to 12 at all. We actually just did the next episode of the show. But Hornet is very much an 8 to 12. So I'm in it feels like Batman the Animated Series, for many reasons, is the obvious role model. Except, we're not going to be as dark. Like, darkness was their co-star. Ours is like eternal sunset.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was this, I think DC Nation, maybe. They had a bunch of animated shorts. I want to say like 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was one amazing one. I think it was directed by a guy named Robert Valle, which was Wonder Woman, and it was like Wonder Woman, like Miami Vice style in a weird way.
Ooh.
And so, like, she drove this big ass muscle car instead of the invisible jet, but it was invisible because it's super cool.
Right.
But it was that kind of eternal sunset. Like, everything was reds and yellows and browns, and she was like screaming up
That's
on the
the
beach. And
move.
she stepped out with like big ass platform shoes, and like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
This is like, and to get to play like Hawaii Five-0 or like Rockford Files, but with Black Beauty and Green Hornet and Kato, you're gonna have so much fun.
I know, right? I remember that DC Nation thing they did. They did a Green Arrow short with onomatopoeia bots, where he was fighting onomatopoeia bots, and then at the end they beat the last one, and onomatopoeia dropped out. It's a character like that I created that was in this cartoon. It was one of the most rewarding moments of my entire career because I didn't know it was coming. Nobody said, "Hey, they're going to use that character and shit." I was like, "Oh, they did it for me." So yes, Green Hornet and Kato, man.
Coming at some point.
Gonna be good times. I'll give you more details when I know more. But thank you to the good folks at Wild Brain for thinking of me. They also have the Peanuts. They used to be DHX. Remember DHX?
Oh yeah, that's
They
right.
changed their name to Wild Brain.
And didn't they also do Inspector Gadget like back in the day?
How do you pronounce it?
Caillou.
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 They also own one of my favorite franchises in the world, the Degrassi franchise.
Oh.
Now you see my long play here. Now you see the long con going on.
Oh yeah, I'll give you a Green Hornet. You got to give me something in return. I may never ask you for a favor, but if I do.
Do you think though there's something innately wrong about that? Me like willing to take over or trying to like even thinking of, is there something sacrilegious about an American talking about taking over Degrassi? You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't that be in the hands of a Canadian?
I mean, the way to do it would be to partner with a Canadian to find a good Canuck as cover for when the PC police show up.
Well, I can't do it now that you literally called it for what it is. Get one of them Canadian beards, man. You know, just say they're working, but you put them in a closet.
Dab a little maple syrup behind his ears and just send him out, chum the waters with. Go be extra Canadian.
Now I'm really not getting the job. Fuck. Yeah, they own that as well. So wonderful company, man. And it was real nice that they were like, yeah, come on, play again. So it'll be fun, man. It's, you know, as a big Batman the Animated Series fan, it's nice to be able to.
And you can do the thing that the Green Hornet never really did, which is give him the Rogues Gallery.
Yes,
Like,
that's what I
invent
said.
all of that shit.
That's what I said. I was like, oh my God. Like, and of course, once we find a home, then they're like, here's all the money and stuff to make the show. That's when I start calling all my fucking friends and be like, write a script.
Come here, let's make up some bad guys.
Yes, exactly, man. But then be smarter than those fucking old timers who would make up cool characters and not get any money for them. Be one of those cats who's like, oh, I'll make up a fucking character.
Yes. Here's my character payment.
I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to pay you. I'm just going to steal that fucking Cinderella idea that you just put out there for the fucking world. I'm going to do that's going to be my whole Green Hornet pitch. They're going to be like, this sounds more like Cinderella. I was like, it is? But that's only because it's such a good idea, and nobody's doing it yet. We got to do it fast.
We're going to just shave the serial numbers off this, and it's ours.
So Green Hornet, man. Let's roll, Kato, as they used to say on the show.
Is that going to be the ad campaign? Let's roll, Kato.
I don't know. Like, do you really want to use like the ad campaign from the 60s for 8 to 12-year-old audience in 2021, 22? They'd be like, what's the reference?
Yeah, what does that mean? I don't understand these words.
I mean, I hate to be this guy, but didn't they say, like, during September 11th, weren't they like, let's roll or something like that?
I believe they did.
I think those were the words.
But
they
those
said.
were the good guys.
Yeah,
that said
totally.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and I mean, I'm not making any comparisons here, but Green Hornet is
a good guy.
a good guy. But it just feels like, short answer, Mark, I'm going to lose this job based on this conversation. The short answer, Mark, is no, I doubt that will be the marketing campaign.
Tomorrow's news. Wow, Kevin Smith.
That was fast.
Woo. Comes then they goes.
Who's the guy who was in the Trump spokesman for like fucking a week?
Oh yeah.
Scaramucci.
It's like
I get Scaramucci'd out of this fucking Green Hornet
it
cake.
became its own in sort of modicum of time. Like, how many Scaramucci's has this press secretary left?
He didn't even make it a quarter Scaramucci.
Woo-hoo.
All right, that's my news.
That's your news.
And that's the show. Good night, everybody. No,
everybody.
we have a lot more news that doesn't involve me. I
We
would
have much
assume.
more news.
What's next?
The Emmy nominations came out this past week.
Did you get any?
I got none.
Were you working on anything that was up for something?
I worked on the second season of Carnival Row, the first season of which was nominated for Best Title Sequence and Best Theme Song.
Huh.
Yes.
A lot of categories in these Emmys. Who knew?
Whoo!
What about Picard? Did they get nominated for anything?
No. They mounted a very aggressive For Your Consideration campaign.
And they didn't?
They
Didn't even get him one?
They didn't get him one.
The fuck?
Yeah.
All right, who did get nominated? Let me guess.
Uh-huh.
Better be fucking Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Amen. Then there's still some justice in this sick old world. And when I say sick, I mean literally. There's a fucking virus going around. I don't know if you read the news.
Yeah, no, it's still happening.
It's a sick old world.
Yeah, it got the single most nominations of any television show.
Oh, that fucking rocks. It is so unbelievably good. I just rewatched this morning the, fucking Dr. Manhattan Gets Captured episode where he's like, watch the eggs. It's such a clever moment because he's literally saying it to her, but he's saying it to the audience. Watch the eggs.
Watch
Like,
the
oh,
eggs.
So well written.
Yeah, I feel like I need
They were
to...
smart to walk away. Fuck trying to top that.
Yeah, I mean, I did see a quote from Damon, I think it was today or yesterday, because he's doing a bunch of press rounds because it gets, nominated.
What's the
And so-
quote? What's the quote? Like,
quote
maybe
is-
I got a good idea.
No, the quote is, I always imagined this continuing, but, and would I like to have done it? Sure. But the thing about this process was I loved it because of the people I was doing it with. And they have all since scattered to the winds. There's no way to bring this band back together. And without them, I can't imagine doing this again. But I would absolutely love to see what somebody else does with this universe in the same way that I picked it up and fashioned something interesting from it. I would love it if somebody else down the road picks up this book or this show and finds something new in it.
I mean, technically, they could True Detective this shit, right? Where they get some other creative team, but like that's a high fucking bar to clear.
It really is.
I mean, god damn it, that's some perfect fucking television. And it's based on some bullshit that years ago you get beat up for liking. People dismiss you for liking. Now it's so fucking ensconced in the culture, it's probably going to walk away with a bunch of Emmys. I hope it gets them all.
Yeah, it was nominated for 26 nominations across 19 categories, including Outstanding Limited Series, Outstanding Writing for a Limited Series, and nods
Well
for
deserved.
Jeremy Irons, Regina King, and I think Louis Gossett Jr., Yahya Abdul Mateen II, and Jovan Adepo.
What about Jean Smart?
Jean Smart got Best Supporting Actress.
Did she?
Yeah.
Good, because she was fucking wonderful in it.
She's great.
One of my favorite moments of, God, was that last year already? When did that end? Right before 2019?
That ended, tail end of 2019.
Right before the year turned.
In other words, 48 years ago.
When she's fucking it was 75 years ago. It's been 83 years. It's still one of my favorite moments, and it is when she's in the final episode. She's back on her chair, and he's like, Miss Giuseppe, what is it, Miss Giuseppe?
Yeah.
He's like, what a pleasant surprise. Oh God, that was so fucking good. It delivered on every level, not just like, holy shit, I love The Watchmen. It just delivered. Even if it wasn't The Watchmen, that fucker would have worked.
Yeah. I mean, the trick of it is that, and Damon talked about this a lot, including on the podcast that I recorded with him, is that his way into it was finding what was the thing plaguing America at the time. And when Alan Moore first wrote it, it was kind of totalitarian governments, and it was Margaret Thatcher, and it was, it was this whole sense of conspiracies and overriding political shenanigans. And for Damon, it was race in America. Like that's the issue that if we're not talking about, we should be talking about. And so it's finding that next thing that will be both harmonious with those two previous incarnations, but then its own
thing.
special, perfect gem of a formula to follow. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if Damon knows what that is, but some brilliant ass person will be like, oh.
They better make sure it's fucking brilliant before they step up to that plate again. I mean, it's a bold game to be like, The Watchmen, we're doing a sequel. Like, what? And they fucking did it. They knocked it out the park. Special. Fuck.
Yeah.
Give them all the awards. Who else?
The Mandalorian.
Oh, this was exciting too,
This is
man.
exciting.
It got like best drama or something, right?
Best drama.
It's fucking phenomenal.
And outstanding.
Show is fucking amazing.
Outstanding guest actor for Giancarlo Esposito.
For really?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in like what, 2 episodes?
Yeah. He's in
But I
it for
guess
like,
that's a guest.
He's in it for like 15 minutes.
He was great and memorable.
Very much so. And of course, an outstanding visual effects category.
Wait, is he the only acting one?
I believe he is. Let me double check.
They didn't give one to Pedro?
No, I don't think they did.
I mean, technically, it's like how much of it was Pedro? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's Pedro's voice. Don't get me wrong, but like, I read that sometimes they were shooting without him, and some dude just wearing a suit, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's no big secret. I think that's part of it.
it's out there.
It's out there. So I
it's-
guess it would be tough to
I mean, outstanding voice performance by an actor.
kind of.
maybe. But yeah. So, and Stranger Things also.
And yet, at the same time, Taika Waititi got nominated for IG 11.
Yeah.
So technically, Pedro
happen.
could have been fucking nominated. How weird is that?
Crazy weird.
But honestly, I got no problem with it. That performance is pretty amazing. It's really touching. Like when he fucking comes back and he's like, I am also a nurse. Oh, fuck. That's a great show. How many nominations?
Mandalorian Mando. Let me see.
Makes me want to watch that show again. Baby Yoda get a nomination?
Well, outstanding visual effects. So yeah, technically that qualifies. 13 categories, so 13 nominations.
It's beautiful.
Mando got.
Good
Stranger
day.
Things
Good
got
day,
some love.
man. That's awesome.
What We Do in the Shadows, outstanding comedy series, and The Good Place, which
My
is
kid
awesome.
loves What We Do in the Shadows.
It's so much fun.
You watch it too?
Yeah.
I should
You
kick
should.
in.
I think you dig it. Let's see. Regina King, Jeffrey Wright for Westworld for outstanding supporting actor. Bradley Whitford for The Handmaid's Tale. Gene Smart, Giancarlo Esposito, and Louis Gossett Jr.
He deserves it. He was fantastic in that show. He was really, really great.
Yeah.
And
And
what about
also-
the score?
I didn't drill.
Do they do
that
shit
deep.
like that?
They do.
It's that fucking score. I mean, number one, if they win, they got to get up on stage and be like, "Thank you, John Carpenter,"
Yeah.
because it sounds exactly like the score to
I think,
Halloween.
yeah, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did get nominated for the Watchmen score, as did I think Ludwig Göransson for The Mandalorian.
Ooh. Da-dun, 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 da-dun. What else we got in the? Is that all the Emmy news?
That's all the Emmy news.
Quibi got 10 nominations. I'm just saying.
It turns out
Know a lot about Quibi now.
this episode is brought to you by Quibi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Have you thought about it? Well, think about it again.
You better think about it when Slugfest comes out. You'll be missing out.
Elsewhere in the news front, did you watch any of The Witcher on Netflix?
I did not. Oh my God, the photo went right the fuck up.
Yeah. Ooh.
There he is,
Look at
wearing fucking her wig from Game of Thrones. That's Superman, right? Henry
That is
Cavill.
Henry Cavill doing his best gravelly Superman voice.
Does he? Is that what the character is? He's like, I'm the Witcher.
He talks like, my name is Gerald de Rivia.
I mean, look, he was a lovely Superman, but like, I loved him in The Tudors. Like, he was Henry's like good friend with a conscience, and he was so fucking charming and handsome and fucking sexy and shit. I could see why they were like, come over here and take your shirt off and be Superman. But is his performance? How is his performance in this?
It grew on me. It grew on me. I
I
started
like the way you said it better the first
It
time.
growed on me.
That could go on a shirt right there.
it growed
That
on me
could
like
be our
moss.
fucking thumbs up, thumbs down. It growed on me. What's the down version?
I don't know.
It growed on me. I threw it out.
Nice. I mean, it's very bridge and tunnel, but I dig it.
You're from back east too, man.
I threw it out. Yeah, a couple,
threw it
2,
out.
3 times I watched it, but I don't fucking know.
I threw it out.
I threw it away.
It grew. It grew. What was it?
It growed on me.
Growed on me.
Yeah, kid, it growed on me.
Oh fuck, that's high praise. You could see that put on a newspaper ad.
Like, you know.
In quotes, it growed on me.
it
Mark
growed on
Bernardin.
me. It's not bad, kid. It growed on me. Mark Bernardin. 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, like it starts out very one note, very like, oh, he's doing like fucking medieval times Batman.
Right.
But over the course of the 8 episodes, like there's a humor that gets shot through that character, which I wasn't expecting, which makes it really fun to watch. And it's bonkers, batshit crazy. Like there's all kinds of magic.
What's he doing? Like killing witches?
Yeah, it's like, you know.
Is he a witch or is he killing witches?
He's kind of a witch. There's a whole like he's maybe descended from elves who turned away from humans, but then he was somehow an outcast even among the magic users. And
so weird. As much as I loved Game of Thrones, I'm like, this doesn't interest me.
You know, it's. I sort of, when I started watching, I'm like, I don't know if I need to learn the lore and the rules of an entirely new fantasy world. But after a while, I just kind of...
You went for it?
I went for it.
It seems well received. I've not seen anything bad about it.
No,
Only
it
good.
It did incredibly well when it launched on Netflix. And it already was picked up for a second season, and now they just picked it up for a prequel series. Because they're in the Witcher business.
Will he be in that as well?
Unclear, but because I don't know how long Witchers live for, but it's set in an elven world 1,200 years before the world of The Witcher.
Oh, so probably not him.
Probably not him.
So he ain't going to earn any more of that sweet Witcher money.
No, there's nobody's tossing a coin to this Witcher.
But he gets another season.
He'll get, yeah.
And then it's Netflix. He'll probably get another, and then he's done.
He'll be told, yeah, it'll go three and out. Because that's how Netflix
Unless you're Stranger Things. Then they're like, keep going.
That's fine.
Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
I particularly liked, Tudors was your way in for Henry Cavill. I was a Man from U.N.C.L.E. guy.
Yeah, but that's even after Superman. So
It's
you
after-
weren't in after Man of Steel still? You were like, eh.
I was like, he's not bad in Man of Steel at all.
I mean, it's tough to... Chris Reeve is... We grew up with Chris Reeve. Nobody's like, please... Let's not turn this into a battle of fucking Superman. If you like who you like, that's great. I think Henry Cavill's wonderful too. But we grew up with Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve was literally our Superman. And he did something with that part. It was magical what he was able to pull off. He made you think he was two completely different fucking actors.
Yeah.
From Clark Kent to fucking Superman. Just in his posture, just in his delivery.
For the first time, the glasses make sense.
Yeah, good. Oh my
And
God.
the only time
that
the
should have been the
glasses make
tagline, not like "You will believe a man can fly." Should have been for the first time the glasses make sense. They might have made a few bucks on that
The
movie.
glasses, they growed on me.
Mark Bernardin.
But yeah, Man from U.N.C.L.E. was my jam.
I still haven't seen that.
I think you'd really like it.
Ralph liked it too, I think.
Yeah, like it. I think for somebody who's...
That's what I might do tonight. This is the last week of my 40s. I never thought I'd say this, but maybe I'll get high and watch that movie.
Is it another movie you're going to maybe watch and then ultimately not?
True. That's true. Is this my Jurassic World? I was lamenting before the show that all I wanted to do today was watch Jurassic World, and I somehow couldn't get that accomplished. And I was made fun of for my very first world problem.
I can't get it done. I just tried so hard, I just can't get
People
it
are like,
done.
have you seen the death toll? I'm like, look, I understand, of course. But
It's about 150,000 people are dead in America.
but I
just couldn't
really
get this-
wanted to watch Jurassic World.
My priorities are way out of whack, but still. It's my week, damn it.
Thank God we did that off air.
Yeah, no, it's right out there now. In addition to Slugfest, which may or may not be announced by Quibi.
Yeah, I could get dropped. I maybe Scaramucci myself out of that job as well.
Just recorded a voiceover when it's gone.
So like, why did you talk about this? I'm like, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was
It's fucking
really
good,
high.
dude. It's good. Like, I'm telling you, I can't say it on air. I'm gonna give you a link, and you're gonna be like, who the fuck? What kind of mad genius decided to do this? The Clone Saga, dude. 8 minutes on the Clone Saga with actors reenacting it. And you know what they said?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't it was supposed to be 2-month storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And the sales were so huge on the Clone Saga that they kept coming into the office being like, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. So the Clone Saga went on for 2.5 years.
Oh, my God.
But did you know it was predicated on an old story? They did the clone like years ago in the 70s. I think Jerry Conway might have created the clone. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not Jerry Conway. But they did a Spider-Man story that introduced a clone of Peter, and his name was Ben Reilly. So they just, for the Clone Saga, they're like, And it wasn't meant to be a saga. It was meant to be like for the clone storyline.
For the clone arc.
Yeah, like 3 issues. They were bringing him back to be like, oh, that'd be fucking weird, right? And this, you know, they were looking for anything in the wake of Death of Superman. They were like, we need something huge. And this wasn't meant to be that, but it became fucking huge. And then they got trapped by it, and then everyone started hating it so much. And then they talked to the writers, and the writers admit at the end, they're like, I still don't know how we ended it. They weren't quite sure. It's wonderful. All right, back to the news.
Back to the news. You remember the beginning of the quarantine when Trolls World Tour
made all the money.
with all the fucking money on VOD.
And then at the same time, theaters were like, this means war
Yes.
with Universal.
With
Particularly
Universal.
AMC was particularly mad.
AMC was particularly chuffed at this
Am
development.
I setting you up properly?
Very nicely done.
Thank you.
You'd think it wasn't our first show. AMC was very put out by this move, and there was litigation, and they like went to court over it or whatever court.
They were talking
Looks
about
like
like,
these
this
days.
is it. We're never going to show another Universal movie.
Right.
They're probably sticking to their guns, right?
No.
What?
Huh?
You mean they changed course?
They relented, given that AMC is like now kind of pulling themselves out of bankruptcy and reconfiguring their debt because
Yeah, they can't afford to say no to anybody.
can't afford to say no to nobody for nothing.
Particularly people that are like, here's the next Jurassic, and this time it's Jurassic World 5, Fast 10. We're combining the two franchises.
Pretty much.
We're going to drive a fucking Corvette up a dinosaur's ass.
Jurassic Furious. That would be great. Can we do that?
What is it?
I would like to see Jurassic Furious where they drive a Corvette up a dinosaur's
Jurassic
ass.
Furious. That is a good name.
That's not bad.
Jurassic Furious.
Anyway.
See,
What?
it's more of that Cinderella shit. You're giving away good ideas.
Oh,
you
that's-
could literally walk into Universal and pitch that, and somebody might write you a cheap check. Be like, good idea, move along. It's
Basically,
R.I.P.
we'll sign off on your valet parking. Thanks for stopping by. For
Jura-
telling us how we can just mash up the two franchises we already own.
But still, Jurassic Furious is kind of brilliant.
I would watch it.
I look, fuck that. I would watch it. I've never seen a Fast movie.
What?
Oh my God, did I say that out loud? Yeah, I've still never seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Dude.
Everybody says that. Andrew is going, oh, you're missing out. Everybody says that to me. Everybody says, even my friend Malcolm was like, he's like, I would never steer you wrong. He's going, you like comic book movies? You have to like this. He's going, this is just comic book movies with cars.
Dude, Fast 5 is the Avengers 2 years before the Avengers came out. It legit is. It's, hey, so you've seen all these other movies and you've seen all these other characters, and hey, here's this guy from the Japanese version, and here's these two
So that
knuckleheads
means
from
I got to
Miami.
watch a bunch of them before that.
Well, you'd start with one, and then you'd move your way up to like.
Well, the problem is I never started with one in the first place because it didn't really draw my attention.
But you can now.
And I also hear that like one doesn't even come close to what it became.
No, one is X-Men to Dark Phoenix. Like, one is kind of a superhero movie, but it's just this kind of like bromance between these two guys. One's a cop, one's a criminal, and they're going for it. By the time you get to 9, when they're almost in outer space, you're like, I don't know how we got from there to here, but I kind of enjoyed the ride.
Really?
And so, like, 9 and 1 are almost a different species the same way. They're like Dark Phoenix and the original X-Men are like, I guess the titles are similar, but I don't recognize any of these people. They're doing shit that doesn't make sense, but okay. I will say this.
Yes.
If you weren't the busiest person in show business, I would say that there's probably a podcast in Kev Watches Fast and the Furious. It's only 10 episodes long. Not even. 9.
You think I would be into it that much?
I think for podcast's sake, I think you would be.
Oh, so there's a chance that like I might watch it and be like, I knew it. This sucks. Or
Totally.
you're saying the podcast would be like, I fucking can't believe that Tom felt that way. Like,
I think by the time you get to Fast 5 and Fast 6, you will be all about #family in a way that you don't think you would have been in the first one.
is that right?
Yeah.
Did you like Point Break, the Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze Point Break?
Yes, naturally.
Fast and the Furious is the exact same movie to the point that Paul Walker speaks like Keanu Reeves for the entire movie. It's the exact same movie as Point Break, only they're in cars instead of on surfboards. And then it
So
gets
who's the bad guy?
Vin Diesel.
But
Vin
I
Diesel.
thought they're friends, family, hashtag family.
In the same way that Patrick Swayze's the bad guy of Point Break.
He is the bad guy.
That's right, but you love him because he's fucking Patrick Swayze.
Look. I like Patrick Swayze, but fucking Bodie was bad news. He killed people. He's a bank robber.
Yeah.
Just because he surfed and he had a good head of hair, like Johnny Utah is the hero. Never once was I conflicted.
He's totally the hero. Yeah, and Paul Walker's totally the hero of this movie, except that you also really like the bad guy.
So they're friends?
Well, no.
The good guy. It sounds like the Batman and Joker being friends.
It's 21 Jump Street, dude. It's like I'm going undercover in this gang of bad dudes.
So
and
who's undercover?
Paul Walker?
And does Vin Diesel know that he's undercover?
No, that's the big betrayal by the end of the movie.
By the end of which
Spoilers.
movie?
The first movie. He discovers, like, you're a cop? It's like, yeah, but I'm trying to save your life, Dom.
And then he went away. He wasn't in a movie or two.
Yeah, he vanishes because reasons. And so Paul Walker isn't even in 2. I don't
Paul
know.
Walker's in 2,
Paul Walker's
which
in
takes
2 with
place in
Tyrese.
Miami for whatever
Right,
reason.
Ava-
But he's not in
Mendez.
3. That's Tokyo Drift.
And then 3 is all in Tokyo and nobody's in it.
Yeah, Lucas
So they're
Black
just
is
using the
star.
name.
Yeah.
But Lucas Black comes back later on.
Yeah,
Yes.
everybody kind of
comes
by
back.
the episode 5. Everybody's back. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
and then Gal Gadot gets introduced, and this like it just becomes like everybody you've ever seen in a movie showing up to do one last job, and then The Rock shows up as like your kind of new bad guy, but not really because he's The Rock and he's never going to really be a villain.
And he wasn't in it from the beginning?
No, he's the new blood they inject. Yeah, that's like Fast 7.
What
or
did he
Fast
do?
8. Fate of the Furious.
What did he do? He
He's-
fingered a torpedo?
He does, yeah. It's in the trailer, so I'm not giving much away. But he's riding on. They're on ice in this frozen lake up in fucking Canada/Russia, and they're on this ATV that's riding on the ice. And somebody shoots a torpedo. Charlize Theron is the bad guy in a nuclear submarine. Shoots a torpedo to hit this whatever SUV. And so then The Rock's like, just hold on, keep it going straight. And he leans out of the car. I'm off camera. He leans out of the car. And he's like, he just puts a hand on the torpedo and then just like pushes it in a different course. And it blows up another fucking bad guy car. And it's amazing. It's the G.I. Joe you never thought you were ever going to get. And they spent $200 million on each one of these.
Really?
It's bananas.
and then Kurt Russell shows up.
Yeah.
He just shows up
Jason
and does
Statham
stuff.
is in there. Like,
It's kind of what you wish The Expendables was.
Yeah.
But was not.
and also crazy gay.
The whole thing is?
Because Dom Toretto and Paul Walker's, whatever his name is, I can't even remember because he's so like vanilla, are in love for most of these movies together. And there's one movie when like, oh man, Paul Walker's girlfriend, Dom's sister is pregnant. And they're like, how did this happen? We're all wondering the same thing. Because those two dudes are staring off at a lot of sunsets together going, I love you, Dom. It's like, yeah, I know. It's one last job and we can ride off into the sunset. Yeah, baby. Well, then let's do it. And then they hit a big fucking Brazilian, like, we got to win more cars. I guess. There's all these booty girls. Do we care? No. Never.
Still
How can you be on the fence, dude?
Still not sold. Still, I don't know what my problem is.
I feel like
what
we
was that
should-
other movie with Henry Cavill?
Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Which one should I watch?
Well, listen, if you've only got 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
watch Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Okay.
If you're ready to change your life, strap into Fast and Furious because there's 9 of those, 8 of
That's true.
those. 9 because you then got to watch Hobbs and Shaw. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw,
All right.
which is amazing. Did you ever read that New York Times article where they were going behind the scenes in Hobbs and Shaw? And it was basically contractually required that neither Dwayne Johnson or Jason Statham had more or less time than each other on screen. Like literally to the minute, they had to share the exact same amount of screen time, to the point where dialogue was parsed out to make sure they each had the same number of lines and scenes, because nobody could win a scene. There's always got to be a snappy comeback from, like, it was literally script by lawyer.
Why?
Egos.
Wow.
Yeah, like if we're gonna do this, then I'm not the second banana to that guy. So like, oh,
Jason Statham thinks he's as big as The Rock. Is he? If I've been not paying attention, Rock seems like he's the biggest movie star in the world.
yeah,
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, but they wanted both of them, and the way to get both of them was, all right, fuck it, we will litigate the script to within an inch of its life, and it's still crazy fun. And I think that's probably just because of the goodwill of The Rock.
Right.
But it's insane that that's how you make a movie.
That is kind of nuts.
All of that said,
Yeah.
Universal and AMC.
That's right. We were telling a story. I thought we began our Fast podcast series where you're trying to convince me to watch the movie. I'm like, it's not working.
I know. I feel like that's the whole thing. Is like I try to convince you for 10 episodes to watch
Yeah.
the movie, and you watch
Like,
the first
no,
one.
It's
you're
like a modern day green eggs and ham.
I will not have it.
I will not watch Fast and Furious movies.
I will not embark, Mark.
I will not watch these movies fast.
You can sit up and kiss my ass.
We got kids watching this show.
Do
man.
we, though?
Yeah, it's like 4 a.m. in England. And those kids
It's
are
morning time.
They're getting up for. They have school over there still.
They probably do because they figured out how to
They
do
don't
some
have it
shit.
here. Did they shut down?
They shut down, but yeah.
What again? UK did.
Yeah. No, they figured it out, and so, Germany's
Sometimes
back
it feels
to school.
like we're doing this show in a bunker in America.
What's happening out there?
Hiding? Yeah, like is there anybody out there? Anybody at all?
Do we have a UK correspondent? What that? No.
All
So
right.
yes, the upshot of the Universal AMC battle
Is
that traditionally the window between theatrical release and home video release,
4 weeks or so?
it had been around 90 days, 85 days.
Yeah, way
something
back
like
in the
that.
day, sure.
Now, at least between AMC and Universal, it's 17 days. It's 3 weekends.
So it's almost day and date.
Almost day and date.
17 days away from a day and date.
So it's, if
If you've ever had a day and date movie come out, you don't have to feel bad anymore.
No, not so much.
Everything's coming out day and day practically.
Yeah.
How is this playing with other studios, Mark?
They're all petrified, and
I heard
scared.
Disney's pissed. Disney's like, fuck you. We're not, like, they didn't say this, but they were like,
They sent Mickey Mouse over there.
yeah, fuck you.
This is bullshit.
Their point is like, we can get a lot more than 17 days out of the fucking shit we make, so don't throw us into your fucking stew.
Right.
17-day stew. So, I read somewhere online, not like I hear from insiders, I read in another article online that they weren't pleased with it.
I mean, none of the other distributors have signed on to this insane pact, so
Right.
at this moment it's just Universal and just AMC. But there's a world in which, next year, next April, when Fast 9 is supposed to come out, like, hey, it was out on April 3rd. I could also wait till April 20th and watch it at home. And what that will ultimately do to the theatrical experience from an economic perspective. I mean, the AMC is getting a slice
Yeah.
of the premium VOD rentals because that was the only way they could make that make sense for them. But, that's hundreds of millions of dollars you're probably
You're leaving on the table. Yeah. I can see that. I
to get a
understand.
theatrical release.
It's not the business I choose to be in, but I understand it. And I understand why Universal did what they did.
Yeah.
It's just everybody trying to figure out how to fucking keep the lights on, particularly now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a storm they're going to have to weather, and we're at the very least a year away from anybody feeling comfortable to show up in a theater en masse in the way they would like you to for a giant-ass fucking movie like Jurassic World 3.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, we can't have theaters filled 20, 25, 30% in order for us to
And
make
make
our
that
nut.
kind of bank, yeah.
But if we can, that first weekend, third weekend, charge people $30 to watch it at home, all right. We're not going to make everything we wanted to make. We're making something.
During the pandemic in 1918, there wasn't a movie business yet, was there?
No, it was very Nickelodeon based.
And live shows, theater and whatnot.
Yeah, you were still in vaudeville. You were still in,
So same thing must have happened, right? All the live shows were affected. All the mass gatherings were affected.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much radio drama there was at the time.
That's true. We have podcasting, and that's been relatively unaffected by this outbreak. It sounds like back then they might have had radio, and that wouldn't have necessarily been affected either. Thank you.
I mean, I think Zoom was a difficult technology at the time, so you would
Not so many Zooms were going on back then.
not that many Zooms. Lots of Marconis getting together in there. It's like, hey.
I can't talk. I got to do homework with my kid via Zoom. That didn't happen in 1918.
I don't think so. So yeah, that promises to continue to play out, and should it spread, amongst other distributors and other sort of studios, it could signal a tectonic shift in the way we ingest filmed media going forward.
And then Lucas and Spielberg will be right. Didn't they say some shit about like this is it? This is the death of cinema.
Yeah. I mean, like every 3 years they say this is the death of cinema.
Yeah, there's a sky is falling aesthetic
at
too.
some
But
point-
this is the first time where it's like, hey, they ain't kidding.
Yeah,
This
at
ain't
some-
just the death of cinema. This is the death of a lot of things.
They were bound to be right at some point, and so maybe this is it. Speaking of watching shit at home,
Yeah.
do you know every year there's the standard list of like the 10 most pirated shows that are illegally downloaded off the internet? And every year it's whatever.
I remember Game of Thrones was
for a good
stolen
long
a
while.
lot.
But
And by pirated, they mean like these people don't have an HBO subscription.
correct, they're torrenting it off the internet illegally without paying for it. And so this year that list was released, and it's a little interesting, if only to say, hey, here's what people are unwilling to pay for during a pandemic, but
Yeah.
also really want to watch.
Let's hear it.
Number 10, Harley Quinn,
The cartoon.
the cartoon.
They don't know where to watch it probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, if you had the DC Universe app, you could watch it there, and it showed up on HBO Max, but there was no big campaign or commercial going like, go to HBO Max to watch the Harley Quinn cartoon. But I could kind of, I'm not condoning it, but I could kind of understand.
Yeah.
Like, it was a buzzy show that everyone was talking about, and you'd be like, where do you watch it? And they're like, oh, on this one app.
right.
So it didn't clearly drive sales to the app. If only they had gotten the sales of how many people illegally downloaded it.
Totally. Number 9, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's a show that's like for free on TV.
ABC. Like, all you need is an actual television.
Yeah, you don't even have to download that show, really? And still people are like,
Still, people are like, I gotta have it, and maybe it's international as well. Like,
that's
we
true.
don't have ABC,
So they can watch it like day and date as opposed
Right.
to like watching it 2 weeks behind.
Similarly, The Flash is number 8.
Wow. I could see that again. That seems to be like the times that I've done Flash and Supergirl, I think the American episode airs like a week at least before it does overseas, if not 2 weeks. So, if you're deep into it and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm current with America, then, go to a torrent site and you just watch it that night.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Number 7, The Mandalorian.
I can understand that because not everybody has Disney Plus.
Yeah, like I can understand that more than I can understand The Flash or Agents of
Agreed,
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
agreed.
which is like, I don't want to pay for that.
It's higher up the list for that very reason. And it's a very buzzy show that everyone's talked about. And if you felt like completely out of the fucking cultural loop, if you didn't know anything about Baby Yoda. So I could see a lot of people watching that.
And especially again during a pandemic, maybe people didn't want to break off that extra $11 a month to sign
Can't
up.
afford to, right?
So
they're like,
everything's
"Yeah,
super expensive.
But I guarantee you, when they get their jobs back and stuff, they like The Mandalorian enough to probably buy Disney Plus when season 2 comes around. That's usually how it works.
Sometimes, but if a victimless crime,
It's true. Can
is an
keep
extra
on
stop,
going.
Why should I stop doing this now?
True.
Number 6, The 100. Surprising.
Yeah, they're fans. I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm just not. I'm that familiar with it. But I've seen a lot of people online talk about it. What number?
That is number 6.
I would have put that at 10 if I. Were you going from top to bottom or bottom to top?
I'm going from 10 to 1.
So this is number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have put that at 10 if I had to guess. But good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, bad for them, but good for them at the same time. Where does it air?
That's on the CW.
Another CW show that you could literally
and
be
it's
watching
also like
for free.
5 or 6 seasons in.
That many.
Yeah.
They're the new Supernatural.
We're getting some comments in the chat that the CW shows are very late overseas.
That's what I knew.
So
It was
people
like
are watching
2 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, I remember that Doctor Who was always a big pirated show because it would air in the UK
Before here.
sometimes months before it premiered.
I actually thought about doing that with I May Destroy You because I read that they're done
Yeah.
in England, and I was like, oh, fuck, I want to watch the rest.
Number 5, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Why? It's for free on TV. Oh, Nickelodeon's part of cable.
It is, but like, I have to think enough of that shit is on YouTube at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, SpongeBob. I guess they're still making episodes of SpongeBob, and I guess people really want to watch them.
Or they're just pirating the old episodes.
Yeah. Just like, listen, I'm high, and I want to go through the trouble of torrenting.
And also,
this
how
thing.
old is he now? 20 years old?
Yeah.
So that's somebody's happy childhood, right? Right now, in this time, you're looking for some comfort. You're like, let's just fucking get lost in old fucking SpongeBob. I want to see what Sandy the Squirrel's up to.
Number 4, The Walking Dead.
I would have put that like in more like 9, 8. Good to know. Wow.
Yeah. No, Walking Dead is still crazy popular.
Still fucking pulling in an audience. Just not paying for it.
They don't want to
Still pulling in that free audience.
As the ratings go down, the piracy goes up.
I think that's their tagline for season 11.
I'm true with it.
It growed on me.
It growed on
Marc
me.
Bernardin.
Number 3, My Hero Academia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where does it air?
I don't even know. I know some of it is on Netflix. It might be on like Crunchyroll or something like that. But yeah, crazy popular.
Makes sense.
Anime. Who knew?
I mean, that's got a massive
Everybody
audience.
knew.
Everybody.
Number 2, Rick and Morty.
I can absolutely see that. It's on. It's also number 1, tough to find. Sometimes when it's not airing. But number 2, yeah, it's a premium to get it, especially if you want it without with the curses and shit.
Right.
I tend to just buy the iTunes subscription so that I could watch them forever and stuff on my time. But I believe that show is absolutely fucking brilliant. It's one of my favorite things of the last fucking 10 years, man. It's so smart, so well done. It's one of those shows that almost makes you go I quit. I'm never gonna be this good.
And the number 1 show, pornography? No.
That would make sense.
It would make sense. Game of Thrones.
Still. And this is just during the COVID.
This is just now.
People still give a fuck.
Even though we all know
What happens?
And part of me, I mean, to be fair,
It's a dubious honor. HBO is just yay, and fuck.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, it's still number 1. That's money on the table.
but they've always been incredibly proud of that fact. HBO would always say, we are the most pirated show on the internet. Finding a way to make a debit into a virtue.
It's true.
Oh, yeah,
right,
no.
you get bragging rights. You're losing money. Might as well take them bragging rights.
Seriously, we got a lot of eyes on these. But yeah, part of me even, while I look at this and say, really? I do kind of want to rewatch the show.
Which one?
Game of Thrones. Because the first 4 seasons.
Now you just know when to jump out.
Yeah, hey, done. I know what
At a certain
happens
point,
here.
just go and they all lived happily ever after. And don't watch the last season.
I'll do the sweeted version of my, the 10-minute wrap-up.
Yes.
Just, hey, you know what? It all worked out.
What was the happiest season finale? When she was on her way with the dragons across the narrow sea or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, the most optimistic version.
Yeah, where it's shit might work out. She might be,
Yeah.
she might be queen after all. She may
might
sit
break
on the Iron
wheel.
Throne.
Fuck yeah.
Or that dragon may burn it. I don't know. We'll see.
But that would never happen.
Yeah, that's a little too on the nose, no?
All right. The last story is less a story and more here's a fun thing that I saw on the internet.
Okay.
You're familiar with the actor John Cryer, are you not?
Absolutely. It's Ducky from Pretty in Pink. He's Lex Luthor from the CW Berlanti verse.
Yeah. I met him when we were doing that Crisis Aftermath show.
Yeah,
He was one of
lovely dude.
Super nice guy. He went on a bit of a tweet thread talking about when he auditioned for Back to the Future. He auditioned at one point to play Marty McFly.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, that makes sense timeline-wise.
Yeah, he was having a conversation with Ben Stiller, who also auditioned to play Marty McFly back in the day. And John started to talk about, the Back to the Future script that I read before my audition was very different than what ended up on screen. It opened with Marty McFly playing the Close Encounters theme on his electric guitar while he pirated a VHS cassette of the movie. And the time machine wasn't a DeLorean that had to travel at 88 miles per hour and have 1.21 gigawatts of power, but just, a time machine that needed nuclear fission and a secret ingredient that turned out to be Coca-Cola. Swear to God. The final sequence didn't involve a clock tower or a lightning bolt, but instead finds Marty sneaking onto an atom bomb test site with his time machine to be near the nuclear fission that he needs for it to work. In an eerie scene, he finds the test site is complete with exquisitely detailed suburban houses and mannequins to simulate the effects of an atomic explosion on an American time.
Oh my God, it's the opening of fucking...
He gets in the time machine in place. The atom bomb
Does he
is
get in
about
the
to
fucking
go off.
refrig?
He's reaching out for the Coca-Cola. The countdown is set at 10, 9, 8. When he slips and drops the bottle, it shatters on the ground. He's all out of Coke. He panics, understandably, but then remembers he's in the 1950s, and any self-respecting American suburban home has a bottle of Coke in the refrigerator.
Are you kidding me?
He checks, and sure enough, there's one in there. He pours it in the time machine, but then realizes, oh, crap, he has to find out how to survive an atomic explosion. Again, he panics, but then it dawns on him. There's a lead-lined box nearby, otherwise known as a refrigerator. He climbs in, closes the door behind him, the bomb goes off, the time machine activates, and he's simultaneously shot back to the future. Does this sequence sound familiar to anyone?
Yes!
I can hear you all collectively screaming, yes! It does. Clearly, Spielberg loved the scene so much, he repurposed it decades later for a much maligned scene in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Ooh, Cryer spilled some fucking tea.
Spilled some tea.
I guess he's never planning to work with fucking Spielberg again.
That is some John Peters loving a giant spider shit right there.
You ain't kidding, boy. That guy nursed a real hard-on for that scene for years, so much so that he's like, when we go back to Indiana Jones, I know exactly how to start this fucker.
Yeah. Listen, George, I know you want to do this daffy-ass alien crystal skull bullshit. I'll come back and do it. Yeah. Only if...
George Lucas is like, I want to make a movie about crystal skulls, and Spielberg's like, hold my beer.
Hold my Coke.
Wow, man. Fucking good for Cryer.
Yeah.
I guess, after all that fucking 2.5 Men, he must have a lot of fuck you money to be like, who else is an asshole? And start spilling all the fucking tea.
But it's not even like, who's an asshole. It's just... here's how it was almost.
Yeah.
And here's how they fixed
but also,
it to what
it's
it
a
is.
deep insight into Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And what he thought was a good idea that he pulled forward.
There is an old saying that we probably shouldn't use anymore because I bet it's all kinds of insensitive, but it had been used in writers' rooms all the time.
Okay.
Use every part of the buffalo.
Yes.
Which is, hey, you wrote some script at some point and you loved it, but it never went. But here's an idea that you can maybe refashion, and here's a bit you can retrofit into here, and here's something you can adapt into here. Clearly, Steven was like, you know what, man?
True.
I always fucking love that.
You know what? I was getting a little judgy, and it's ironic because I was just earlier talking about how I'm working on Green Hornet for like the 4th time in my life. So, you know what? Good for him. Good for him for like... going, I'm going to not let this waste. This is a cool idea. Dude in a fridge during a nuclear blast is going to fucking play.
Yeah, I mean, it might not have played in the 80s, but it'll play in the aughts.
What do you mean they didn't like it?
What do you mean
did they like the prairie dog in the beginning coming out of the... They didn't like that!
Yeah, it's like, you mean it's become the Jump the Shark of 2000? Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know what? He knew that it would be culturally important. He just didn't know in which direction.
So that's not the first time Spielberg's done that with Indiana Jones either.
He stole something else?
Or
reused?
He
repurposed?
reused in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the scene where Tote comes in and
hangs the hanger.
Hangs the hanger was used in 1941 and fell flat in 1941, and he thought it was such a great bit. He reused it in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and everybody loves it and remembers it in Raiders.
This is why I fucking love this show. That is an awesome fucking story, man. Wow, 2 bites at that apple for Spielberg.
2 bites at that apple.
And how we perceive it from the outside is, he's just a genius who could do no wrong. But it's like, no, he self-corrects.
Yeah, or...
even the greatest of us self-corrects.
Yeah, like there's a podcast that I've been listening to, when I was listening to podcasts in cars, called Good One. It's about jokes and comedians that I think Vulture puts out. Mm-hmm. And one of the steady questions on the podcast is, what's one joke that is funny, even if an audience never laughed at it? And they'd ask comedians, like, you know what? That one. Like, I love that joke. And they would tell the joke. And, it's for the audience to agree whether or not it was actually good or not. Mm. But this feels like that thing. It was like, what gag did you know was great that nobody will let you put in a movie. It's like, let me tell you about this fucking fridge.
Or, you know what fucking killed, what I thought would have killed in the audience, went right over their heads, Nazi make it yourself hanger. Oh my God, I thought it was the most funny thing, but like fucking, we had to cut it out of 1941 because audiences are assholes, but I'm putting it in Raiders.
Like maybe the problem is it wasn't funny enough to be in a comedy, but it's perfectly funny enough to be in a
It's an excellent
thriller.
point. It was probably the lamest joke in a comedy, like full of, that had John Belushi in it, but a very strong joke in a movie that's not meant to be funny.
But yeah, when I saw that thread, I kind of fell in love with it. Because, you know, I just love
Crier.
that shit. Like, just digging up stories about the things we almost got and we dodged bullets on.
Let me tell you something, man. Crier has a lot of fucking stories, I would imagine. He was there at Ground Zero, too, when fucking Charlie Sheen was like, winning, and all that stuff. Man,
I mean, hell, he was at Ground Zero for the Brat Pack.
Yeah,
And,
that's
like,
right.
all of those fucking stories. I bet you'll
He's
find
lived
out who
through
loves
every
anal.
fucking era. He's like the Forrest Gump of this bitch. Is that all the news?
That is all the news.
Mark
my
gave
friend.
you the news. Give it up for Mark. We can't hear you, but I'm sure you're doing it.
Yeah.
All right, it's 5 a.m. in the UK. Let's get to some Q&A. You got some questions for us there, JC? JC here owns this here establishment, Scum Villainy Cantina, and closes it very graciously for us to come in here so we don't have to fight the crowds. JC,
Screaming hordes.
yes, there's always here. What do we got? What do they want to know? What can we tell them?
Let's see. Chris De Silvestro wants to know if you guys could work with Lin-Manuel Miranda on an existing IP, what would you choose to make a musical about with him?
Ooh.
Wow. How about this? Speaking of like second bite at the apple, me and Lin-Manuel doing a remake of the late 70s, early 80s movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Wow.
Beatles songs, so they, you know, his job's already done for him and shit. So he doesn't have to write new lyrics.
Listen, man, this is just you to cash a check. You don't have to work
Pretty
that
much, man. But just with a fresh face on it. It's a good story. Could have worked. A lot of people shit on it. And like, Bee Gees, Peter Frampton, fuck that. George Burns, fucking Billy Preston is the weather vane. What the fuck? It's a great movie. I love it. It's a jukebox musical. Those are popular these days, Mark. So I would say me and Lynn doing a jukebox, the jukebox musical. Fuck, I'm high. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The movie, not the the Beatles classic, but the movie that was based on the entire Beatles catalog.
Okay.
See where I went?
I see where you went.
Where are you gonna go?
I have one. No, they did a musical. They did an Addams Family musical already, right?
They did.
All right, so not that one.
Bebe Neuwirth played Morticia,
That's right. So,
and Nathan Lane played Gomez.
I would do. I would do Flash Gordon
Ooh, with music,
with music,
songs.
songs. I mean, you've got all the fucking awesome Queen music.
Same kind of art direction though.
Oh, it's got to be daffy and crazy and shiny, and everything's made of like lava lamps and, I mean, badly hanged Voltans flying in. Like, it's already
Love it.
kind of a shitty musical, but I love it to death, and so I think that would be a blast. And I think there's probably a really good musical of Christine
About the car?
about the demon car.
It's a musical movie,
Yeah.
not a Broadway show. Who wants to look at a car on stage? What is this, fucking a high school production of Grease? You'd take me to a Christine musical movie. You got my money.
I got your money.
You try to take me to a theater to watch a car on a stage. I say, fuck you, we'll go to my driveway and do the same thing. Cars are meant to be moving, Mark, not sitting on a stage.
Man, I think you could do some Starlight Express shit with this.
Oh, my God. Remember that shit? Man,
They're on roller skates, but it's skate as a spaceship.
we lived on the East Coast, so we were fed those commercials for like fucking years where they desperately tried to make that a thing.
Yes.
And there are people who went who were like, it's spellbinding and shit. But like, you know,
I lived for those.
It wasn't Cats. Let's say that.
It wasn't Now and Forever. It was like 15 minutes and gone. But I used to love.
It was there for about 2 Scaramucci's, and then
They used to have the commercials for the Broadway shows, which was always testimonials from rando people standing in front of a brick wall with the poster of the play.
We had such a good time.
I'd see it twice more times.
Yes.
I'm in from Pomona, and it was amazing. Ramona. So yeah, I would do. I think that fucking demon car and teenager with like crazy libido who likes a girl and wants the car, like
They're all shitters. I hate all these shitters.
you're a demon behind the wheel.
But you understand me, Christine.
But with more rap.
Oh, good point. It's Lin-Manuel. It's true. There'll be some interesting, I don't know. Why am I writing lyrics? I'm embarrassed now. He'll be writing them lyrics. All right. That's a good question. Question
that.
2.
This one's from Adrian Pink.
Adrian
Pink.
Hey, Adrian.
Pink. It's a hot name, man.
They
It's a
would
comic
like to
book name
know
right there.
If you could make a season of 24 and base it around a superhero, who would it be and what would be the story? So it would have to be like minute for minute, like 24 hours.
And we get a whole season of this?
And you've got 24 hours to make
To tell a story.
to tell that
Tell a story.
With those characters.
In real
fucking
time.
Batman, hands down. Minute by minute Batman, and I'm in charge of the show? Sorry, I'm looking at JC. Minute by minute Batman, and I'm in charge of the show? Fuck, man. Are you kidding me? You do the entire Rogues Gallery. Maybe twice in one season. And what's more interesting than Batman? Fuck Jack Bauer, man. I'd much rather watch Batman do the same shit in a mask. Jack Bauer, he could have had my loyalty if he would just put on a fucking cowl and a cape, but he didn't. So Batman 24. Fox. You?
Nice. The fall of.
I'll do you one better. Batman 24/7. It'd be 24 hours and a week-long show.
Yeah. I meant to, and he also opens a convenience store. Batman store 24/7.
Oddly enough, there's a robot clerk, which turns evil. Batman has to take it out. We got a lot of time to fill.
I would do the last day on Krypton. I would do the 24 hours before the planet
Fuck,
explodes.
that's good. That's good. We know what's coming.
We know what's coming.
The iceberg's coming.
But we don't know any of the shit that happens before that.
Jor-El, through Jor-El's perspective?
Through Jor-El's perspective, or maybe from Mom's perspective, or maybe...
Lara?
Yeah, no, fucking no. Jor-El. Do it through Jor-El's
Or both, the parents,
Yeah.
let's just say.
But
Through
again, yeah.
through the L's.
Through the house.
Through the House of L.
Yeah, one big L.
One big L. Well, they all L'd on that fateful day. That's a good fucking call, man. I like that. I'll watch your show. You know what? I think I have a few bucks in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm going to donate to your cause.
Do you have Quibi money?
Yeah, I might have some Quibi money on me. That's a Quibi series right there, man.
Or like, we could probably go to HBO Max tomorrow and be like, hey, you know what we want to do?
20. Remember 24? They're like, we don't own that. We're like, all right, well then forget it.
Yeah. That's
How
fine.
about?
We'll just call it The Last Days of Krypton.
Yeah, and it takes place over the course of 24 hours. So each episode
Is an hour.
is an hour. They're like, that sounds like 24. I'm like, I
Well,
thought
it's not.
It's not. It's super. It's maybe this idea is not for Warner Brothers. They're like, it's only for Warner Brothers.
Maybe it's Jor-El torturing a lot of people to get information about how to fuel a spaceship.
And maybe we'll just take this idea across the street to Marvel. They're like, good luck. I like that, man. Shit, was that the second question?
That's the second question. What if you did 24, but it was 24 minutes?
Yeah.
But each minute was an hour, and you did it as the Flash, moving super fast.
Go back to us. Ooh, that's a good idea.
That's not bad.
Yeah, he's running at a different pace and shit. But wait, so the rest of us are as statues. Does he get to unfreeze from time to time? Or is he, everyone he deals with, otherwise he's a solo act, everyone he deals with would have to be in time with him, within the Speed Force to some degree. Can he bring people with him? Otherwise, we got no dialogue.
Yeah, he'd have to
series
grab
of monologues
people.
where he's like, "I'm alone.
I can't run fast enough. Run, Barry, run. Run,
Like
Barry,
Superman
run.
could show up.
You should be in charge." It's a good idea. That's true. Superman could pop in. That's smart.
I would also maybe do 24 starring Chewbacca on Cloud City as he's trying to figure out what the fuck happened. Ooh. Like, who's here? What are these stormtroopers doing here? What's happening? Where'd C-3PO go?
That's right. And where he gets shitty with the Ugnaughts and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. C-3PO.
And they torture him, too. They tortured fucking Chewie.
And, like, does he go in and eat the dinner that Darth Vader laid out after they get taken away?
That is always... I honestly feel like sooner or later somebody's going to fucking do it, right? And I hope it's Jon Favreau. But, like, that fucking dinner has always captured my imagination.
Well, and he's hungry in Return of the Jedi and gets him into trouble. So you know he always thinks with his stomach.
Chewie. Fuck Chewie of it all. Just the fascinating fucking fact that Darth Vader is going to sit down at dinner with him and sooner or later take his helmet off to eat. And they're going to be like, what the fuck? Oh, my God.
I can't eat now. I'm not hungry.
Yeah, put the helmet back on. Put it on. Or, you know, it's Darth Vader in the mask and he's just with a straw to his... Still, just the idea of, like, did they have a conversation? Did he lay out his villain plan for them? Did they sit there quietly?
I would just like the shot of Vader just breathing heavily and a straw slowly entering from the bottom screen.
Sounds like a fucking bong. I've loved that fuck. It's one of my favorite moments in Star Wars history. Just for the doors open, they see Darth Vader, and Han Solo's first instinct is to fucking shoot him. Oh, I love that. That is like fucking. It's, you know, I remember. I think we talked about it on Spongebob years ago, but I was like, and this was pre the death of Osama bin Laden. But that's like his reaction was like, the doors open and there was Osama bin Laden, and he was like, "Oh my, like I've got a chance."
I'm gonna draw down on Vader.
It's fucking insane, man, and just so like what if he hit him? Like imagine if he like Star Wars ends in the middle of Empire Strikes Back. If Han Solo fucking gets a shot in and Vader's like, holy shit.
Storytelling. It's like,
remember, what was that movie? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Spoilers at the end when fucking, what's his name from L.A. Law?
Corbin Bernsen.
Corbin Bernsen is going to shoot Robert Downey Jr. He shoots him first. He goes, fucking magic. No, that's it. Fucking Captain Magic. Oh, that movie's so fucking good. Is it now? You like that movie? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah, I dig it.
Where's that compared to the Fast and Furious movies? It's better than the Fast and Furious movies?
Well, I mean the first Fast and Furious movie is it's a fucking undercover cop drama.
Right.
Like not bad at it.
Somehow it morphs into...
Somehow it becomes a fucking superhero extravaganza. But I think that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I love that movie, is better technically than any of them.
Right.
But here's what it is. If Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was actually a prequel to Iron Man.
Yes, which it is.
And then you get to Avengers, you're like, oh shit. I didn't think that's where this was going.
Right.
I didn't think the dude would be in fucking space. But okay. That's about the trajectory of Fast 1 to...
Let's save
Fast
that for
9.
my 50s. We can do it when I hit my 50s, which, as we know, isn't that far away.
Yeah, I've been told with reliable assertion that it's soon.
I've heard. I mean, comicbook.com can quote me on this. I believe my birthday is very soon. I'll do that in my 50s, man. And then we should record podcasts about it. But I think prior to my 50s, like now...
I was doing prior to my 50s. Dude, you're like 4 days left.
I know. I gotta pick. I gotta pick carefully. These are the last movies in my 40s, man. But you're making me want to watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang again.
I like how this conversation made you want to watch everything but Fast and Furious.
I'm just trying to avoid it like the plague. I'm like, I better watch some old shit first.
It's like, I gotten this far without watching. I'm not gonna start now.
But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is so amazing. I was selling somebody on Wag the Dog. Oh, Josh and Liv. I was like, you guys haven't seen Wag the Dog?
I haven't seen that movie in years.
It's fucking good. It's so good. And right now, it's finger on the pulse. Crazy fucking good. Relevant. All right. Third question, third and final, takes us home.
All right.
And there are two fucking good questions that preceded it. So three better be hot shit on toast, JC.
Particularly topical for the show. The best birthday gift you guys ever received and the one you wanted but never got.
Ooh. I don't know. I never really fetishized my birthday as a kid, and I still don't now. My family makes fun of me because the first thing I think about when it comes to my birthday is like, oh, that's a marketable event. Like we could totally sell tickets to something, and they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, that's it. I have a hard time. My kid has a hard time understanding that, she's like, what do you do for fun, Dad? You never do anything for fun. And I'm like, I do Kevin Smith all day long.
Everything is
fun. Funnest fucking thing in the world. When it comes to gifts that I didn't get and gifts that I did get, it won't be birthday. Can I go with Christmas instead? The gift that I didn't get for Christmas when I was 5 or 6 years old was I wanted the Mego Batcave. Now, mind you, I didn't even have the Mego Batman doll. I assumed I'd get that as well. What kind of cruel parent gives you a Batcave with no dolls to play with?
Just this haunted Batcave.
I thought it was like I'd get the one gift and a backdoor second gift. I was planning ahead and shit. But we were not wealthy people whatsoever.
I would also like a backdoor second gift.
Yes. That was the gift my father was looking for that Christmas. A little backdoor from my mother.
Yeah, Batcave, Plato's Retreat. Either way, you get a backdoor second gift.
He's like, it's Christmas, Grace. Come on. The boy's getting the Batcave. What is the man getting? My mom, God bless her, it's not quite gift of the Magi, but my mom was like, well, he wants a Batcave, and the Mego Batcave was way too expensive. My father was making 70s poor. He was making 70s government salary, and it wasn't a lot. So Christmas comes, and I don't know that I'm not getting the Batcave. It's hinted that Santa might be bringing me a Batcave, so I'm thinking I'm getting the fucking Mego Batcave. This is gonna be crazy. And then I open up one of my gifts on Christmas morning, and it is a Batcave, and it's kind of plastic. It's got a handle. On the front of it is the Wayne Museum, and then on the back side is the Batcave. You open it up, and there are paper dolls that stick in little plastic cylinders so they can stand up, and very, very, a Batcave is better than no Batcave. But it was the first time I realized, oh, we're poor. It's that simple. And I was raised pretty well by my parents and politely and shit. So I never said that to them where I'm like, you're poor. But
why are we poor?
Yeah, why is this happening to me? Where's our wealth? But yeah, it was kind of bittersweet. I do have another fucking here. Now, you know what? The question was, did I ever get a birthday gift what was my favorite birthday gift? The one that kept on giving? I do have an answer for that. I was going to tell a sad story about when my dad, I wanted a BMX bike so badly, and my father built me one out of an old bike. But in order, to BMX, we had an old fucking, old-timey bike and shit. He took a metal, not even a Huffy. I wanted a Huffy. We had fucking,
Schwinn.
a girl bike with a Schwinn seat and shit. So he... remember BMX bikes had the metal bar across the middle and shit?
A little puffy...
He got a little piece of fucking tin tube and then chicken wired it between the... Yes, now that, of course. But as a kid, I was my mom was like, your dad's been working on your bike for a week. You're going to love it and shit. And they opened the garage, and it was, like Homer's car. When Homer built his dream car in The Simpsons. It's just so fucking, oh my God. It was bad enough riding this bike before. Now he's just, blinged it up in 1979 with some chicken wire and shit. And now I would give you every penny that I have to get that bike, to have that fucking bike, because it was made with incredible fucking love and affection. And made by a guy who was I can't give him what he wants, but maybe I could get fucking close. He didn't, but he left an indelible mark on my heart. That fucking bike, I wish I could get that bike again. But anyway, the birthday gift I always wanted, and I did get, and it was my favorite one, and it changed my life as well, was a Smith Corona word processor.
Ooh.
Got a Smith Corona word processor when I was a kid. We had an electric typewriter, a Smith Corona electric typewriter, and they sold this additional package that came with, like, there were no computers yet. I guess there was an Apple computer, an early Lisa or something. So you had a drive that you put a disk into, a floppy disk, and that connected to the typewriter. And the typewriter, the electric typewriter, was your keyboard. This drive, you could save the work. And then there was a monitor, like a green dot matrix monitor, that you were looking at the word, essentially word processing before Microsoft came along and stuff. And then when you wanted to print it out, you put paper into the electric typewriter as you would, and then press the start key, and then it typed like a ghost was typing. And it took 5 minutes per page to type it out. But it, that was me. My parents, put some money into it. It was like probably $175 or something back then, which was a lot for us. And that, of course, I loved writing and I wanted to be a writer and stuff. So, number one, it was great for that. But number two, like, it was not just, here's a fucking pen and paper, go write. It was like, here's, kind of cutting edge technology. We're not going to buy a computer because fuck that. But like, here's something that you can save your work on. I wrote fucking Clerks on that. I wrote everything on that for fucking years. That was my training ground and stuff. So that was hands down, I think, the best birthday gift I ever got. Also got a Laserdisc player once. That was pretty cool. What about you?
The present that I wanted and got, I must have been like 8 years old, and I wanted a green machine. Do you remember green machines?
Oh! I was too fat for a green machine. I was too chubby as a kid for a green machine. Plus, that was a rich kid's toy.
I mean, that was a, like, parents are working overtime to get the toy.
I mean, look, most kids were lucky to get a big wheel, but a green machine, that was like a big wheel plus.
It was the DeLorean to like a big...
The Tesla of big wheels.
Yeah, because it steered from the back.
And had two handles.
It was like a fucking tank.
Yeah.
And so you're like...
Still had to pedal it, but
you still have to pedal it because, nobody's putting motors in
and
that
it also had the amazing name, the Green Machine.
The Green Machine. So, like, I had a big wheel that I literally rode so much that it went from, because the big wheel up front, which is where your feet were, was made of plastic.
Yeah.
And if you do it enough, you basically wear the plastic down. So instead of having one tire, you had like two records that were like next to each other. And then you couldn't fucking steer at all. So then I got the Green Machine, and I then proceeded to almost kill myself with it, because when I was a kid, we were living in the Bronx, and we were on this street that was, we were perpendicular, and there was a big hill on the other side of the street. So it was
no
just
place
like
for a green machine.
Every street was like just this fucking terrace of doom. And so you'd like pull your bike up, or you'd huff your goddamn Green Machine to the top of the hill, and then just tear down, and then try and turn into your street. And this is fucking asphalt pavement.
Doing like at least 20, 25 miles per hour.
Doing like fucking bus speeds.
Yeah.
But you can't stop for any railroad crossings. And so I try to make that turn into my street, and there's no rubber anywhere on a Green Machine. It is just plastic.
Hard plastic.
Hard fucking plastic. And so, 30 miles an hour trying to make this turn. And I think I might have actually like turned a degree before just traction was a myth. And then I just started spinning down this hill, just until, and there were, because for some reason in the Bronx, in this part of it, there were woods. But it was more like just a patch of non-developed land at the bottom of this hill.
Right.
And I just like, and then hit the lip of the curb, and then went airborne and managed to miss every tree in there, and then just landed in the dirt.
You are so lucky.
Yes, with a busted Green Machine. Like the day
No, you're lucky that you got a Green Machine.
You son of a bitch.
Oh my God, your parents must have loved you.
Yeah.
You're lucky you didn't fucking die. Could you imagine all the neighbors just going like, he's going to die?
Yeah.
Watching you spin down the hill.
Just watching me climb it up there. Like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah, like this ain't going to go well. Get some popcorn.
Yeah, like somebody, you should get his parents now. Oh, they're both at work? Oh, baby, you're going to die. So that's the best one I ever got. It lasted about a day. And then the one that I wanted and never got was the Millennium Falcon action figure holder. like the collecting case.
Case that was shaped like a Millennium
That was
Falcon.
shaped like a Millennium Falcon. And
Did you have the Darth Vader collector case, the C-3PO collector case?
I had the Vader collector case, but I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's fucking Vader. I want the Falcon.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that I had the Vader case made it that I was never going to get the Falcon.
Oh, because they were like, you already got
you
one.
got a fucking case already.
Yeah, we're not rich. You're like, we got green machine money.
They're like, you got the case. It's like, yeah, but I have more figures now. It's like, well, you got a bag. Put the fucking figures in a bag. Why do you need a special case?
I know. Yeah. I remember that. I remember my mom being like, here's a bag from Food Town. Put the figures in there. I'm like, Ma, no.
That's not how this goes.
I had two. I never got the C-3PO case, but I had two Darth Vader figurehead collector cases. Because, like, one barely fit the collection. Like, you needed more
You
space.
needed more than one.
Do you remember the original collector case, which wasn't even shaped like a thing? It was just like
a box?
nylon or, yeah, it's just a box with two trays and shit. But once they started making it in the shape of things, like I still have my Darth Vader collector cases.
Yeah, no, mine never showed up. Apparently, Santa at the workshop just couldn't make that shit happen.
Never got you your Millennium Falcon.
I never got another Falcon, and like, cause then you could fucking play with the Falcon.
You could. It's a double thing.
It's a double thing, and that was my logic because I always had to like make a case for why I wanted something.
Yeah, like it's a 2-in-1. It's a twofer.
Like you always want me to clean my room. This will help me clean my room. I put all my fucking toys in here, and then I get to play with it. And you're always like, "Why is he watching so much TV?"
It's a floor cleaner. It's a toy. It's a floor cleaner. It's a toy.
I'm doing this for you, Mom.
Yes.
I'm trying to make your life easier.
I remember trying to convince my dad to buy me a copy of Mad Magazine that had King Kong in it. They did King Kong that issue because it also had a parody of Network. And I knew he wanted to see that. I was like, Dad, they've got Nutwork. Nutwork. You wanted to see it. Like as if he was like, oh, they're doing Network, are they? Well, here's 60 cents.
Here you go, kid.
For your humor in a weathered vein.
So yeah, that's my present narrative.
All I take from all of that is you were rich enough to own a green machine. I looked up to kids like you in childhood.
Then again, I lived in the Bronx. And not like the Riverdale shiny ass part of the Bronx. You're like, oh, is that a body?
Wait, Riverdale isn't like there's a Riverdale.
There's a Riverdale in the
that
Bronx,
wasn't-
but it's not the Riverdale.
It's not meant to be like where Archie is and shit.
No, I don't think so.
So that's just anywhere USA, right? Riverdale, USA. They never identified it like, no, this is Riverdale, Missouri, motherfucker.
Right, like Springfield. It's
Right.
just
It's
this
its own world and shit.
amorphous place.
I think for a second there, I was like, you just fucking shattered my mind. Was
Riverdale's in the Bronx?
was it originally? Was it based on the Bronx?
I mean, I don't know where the people who created Archie are from,
Right.
but it wouldn't surprise me that they're from New York because everybody who made every comic book ever was from New York
Good
for
point.
the first 40 years of it. And so, like, yeah, no, that could be a dude who grew up just outside of there.
I think they mentioned like Riverdale in 25th Hour, Spike Lee movie. Like, because I think she goes to school
Yeah.
up there. Or
It's a
something
ritzy
like that.
part of town.
Is it really?
Yeah,
And she was wearing a uniform. It's like
That'll
a
do
private
it.
school kind of thing.
that'll do it.
I love that movie.
And before we go, there is another beloved pop culture icon who is celebrating a birthday.
Who?
Bugs Bunny, 80 years old.
80 years old, man.
Yeah, also from the Bronx.
Oh my God, a true New Yorker. You know that it was the other day that it was the 80th anniversary of the very first Bugs Bunny short, hence Bugs Bunny's 80th birthday. And naturally, Twitter blew up, so there was lots of, GIFs of some moments that I haven't thought about in a while, but are burned into my fucking brain from childhood because we saw them so many times. We didn't have options when we were kids. They were like, here's the Looney Tunes show. We're going to play it all week. Next week, you'll see the same episodes. Because even though they made a bunch, sooner or later, you're seeing reruns and shit like that. But it didn't matter because everything Bugs Bunny did was just so heroic to a child because he stood up to everybody. He was the little guy who fucking was the smartest guy in the room. Didn't matter if there was a giant wrestler or fucking some big opera singer or a dude with guns or a
bull.
hunter or fucking a monster, a Frankenstein. Like he was just always the quickest one. Like there was a line in Rick and Morty this season where he's like, what you're doing is called negging and your generation didn't invent it. It was invented by Bugs Bunny. I realized in looking at a lot of those clips how much of my sensibility and my character came from watching Bugs Bunny. Like, you know, he's incredibly influential. And you know, now of course they're doing new animated shorts on
HBO Max.
HBO, which I checked out, and they were like, "Oh shit, it's like them, just you know, fucking made for TV." Doesn't have the cinematic 24 frame animation, which all the Looney Tunes cartoons had, because they were fucking movie shorts. They played in movie theaters and stuff. So you know, Bugs Bunny's always been with us, but like I didn't really give it a deep think until his birthday, where I was like, so much of like what I do, what I write about, my characters, the things, even particularly right now we're doing Sun in Lockdown, very Looney Tunes inspired more than anything else. So yeah, he was, and I loved Chuck Jones, the work of Chuck Jones. I went to see Bugs Bunny on Broadway.
Wow.
But not on Broadway, it was at the Garden State Arts Center, so I don't know if that counts. But you know, same thing. They played, this was years ago in the like 80s, they played cartoons and then had an orchestra play along. Something that like now is fairly commonplace. They do it at the Hollywood Bowl, or did all the time before the COVID and stuff. But this was so new. They were like, we're fucking playing Bugs Bunny cartoons with a goddamn orchestra playing in front of it. And people were like, that's classy and shit. But yeah, I love Bugs Bunny way more than most animated characters. I was never a Mickey Mouse guy. I was very much a Bugs Bunny guy.
Yeah, I mean, me too. And I think some of it is, I feel like Disney was the DC and Warner Brothers cartoons were Marvel.
You are so fucking damn right.
You know, and like I liked DC fine, but Marvel always felt like, no, that's the real world. That's the world that I grew up in. I could find the Baxter Building if I wanted to, because they give an address on a street that actually exists in Manhattan. And Bugs Bunny was a fucking upstart kid from the Bronx. I mean, that's what Mel Blanc said that he patterned the voice after. And that sense of whatever it is, I can handle it. You know, whatever the problem, I'll find a way through it. You know, and I'm never going to lose, but I'm also kind of never really going to win. You know, I'll always persevere. Like that's what it was. Like whatever your problem was, I could find a way out of it. I can rescue a stalemate from the jaws of defeat.
And transgressive. Like all the Looney Tunes cartoons felt like, as a kid, as you watch them, you were getting away with something. Like violent. And I'm not saying, cartoons should be violent, but like Disney didn't do transgressive. Disney did beautiful, lyrical, you know, fun, goofy, if you will. But Looney Tunes like did the people's comedy. You know, it felt like they were doing Shakespeare. And Shakespeare, when they did Shakespeare, was for like everybody, for the common people, not for the royals and shit like that. Looney Tunes always felt that way. Wasn't it awesome that, remember the dogs, you know, cartoon where the dogs come after him and they're all piled up and they line up and shit, and one of them opens them like a gate and steps through and Bugs at the end of an alley, and then he picks up a book to protect himself, and all the dogs go running away, and he looks at the book and it says a tree grows in Brooklyn. I just remember like asking my parents, like, why did that book? And then my dad being like, because dogs pee on trees. And it was like even the simple understanding of,
There it is.
like I didn't learn that dogs pee on trees by looking at it in the natural world. I learned because Bugs Bunny taught me, you know?
Yeah. No, it is an indelible creation, you know, made with crazy speed. You know, like they were pumping out those cartoons at an incredible rate. And there's a stretch. There's like 15 years where like it's Chuck Jones and Friz Freleng and
Michael Maltese wrote like almost all of them.
You know, just going to town and
building your childhood
and exploding the form of the art itself. And some of that stuff is as avant-garde and as progressive as anything that would come from the French New Wave, that anything that would come out of any of the movies. You know, they were heavily influenced by stuff. Going all the way back to German Expressionism, and then it's in a fucking kids' cartoon.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, some of us, they very famously said it on Seinfeld, where she was like, everything you know about culture comes from Bugs Bunny cartoons. You know, we most of us of our age got our first sample of opera via Bugs Bunny.
What's Opera Doc?
And Rabbit of Seville. Like, crazy, man. Like, but they weren't playing for us. They made those cartoons for like our parents in some cases.
Yeah, you know, or like we talked about in the beginning of the show, that it was stuff that a kid could like, but it was so layered and deep and came from a place of pure expression that anybody could find something in it. And that's what great animation can be, in a way that almost, not to say that no other form can, but it is so free with its own rules.
Yeah.
And so elastic with what it can achieve that it's the thing that makes the most sense to hit every audience at once.
I saw a tweet, a lot of tweets, appreciating Bugs as one of the first, like as a transgender icon, because he
He's
would
gender fluid.
Gender fluid. He would dress up,
Almost like every third cartoon, like he's wearing a dress with lipstick.
and remember, like I think it was Wayne and Garth in Wayne's World, or one of the sketches they were talking about. Garth was just like, when Bugs Bunny dresses up like a girl, it makes me feel funny in the pants. Like it was like when you were a kid and you watched it. And whenever he did dress up like a girl, you're like, I could see being married to that.
Yeah.
Convincing.
Yeah. And I remember, and some of those cartoons, there was one, I don't know why it just popped into my head, but it was the short, fat guy and the tall, skinny guy marooned on an island.
Yes.
And they're just literally like thinking about cannibalism. And it's like, I'm going to eat that dude. It's like, you know what? I'm going to eat that dude too. And then Bugs Bunny shows up. It's like, let's eat the bunny.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon about cannibalism, you guys, for kids.
Yes. And it ends with them looking at each other, seeing meat, and chasing each other down the beach.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The implication is when these credits are over, one of these men is going to eat the other man.
But nah.
But that ain't Bugs Bunny's problem.
Nope. He's on a ship.
Happy birthday, Bugs.
Indeed. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, really.
It's also another famous fictional character's 40th birthday.
Hold on, let's think.
On the 31st.
On July 31st, fictional character.
40 years ago.
40 years old. Harry Potter?
It's Harry Potter's 40th birthday.
He's going to turn 40.
Tomorrow.
Right.
I also am plugging my 12-hour live stream.
There we go. There we go. I knew there was
Learn
a
from the
reason.
master.
The other
YouTube
penny
and Twitch.
drops, if you will.
But
The
yeah,
wand
Harry's-
chooses the wizard, as it seems.
it is Harry's 40th birthday, though.
What are you guys doing for it?
You can do drive-up potions. We
Ooh.
have all little test tubes where you can mix your own drinks. And we're going to do a 12-hour live stream. So we have one of the Weasley boys coming on to chat. We have Dan Fogler's coming on to chat.
Oh, fucking A.
Some really good podcasts. We're giving away a bunch of Sideshow collectibles and Funko Pop stuff
What day is this?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So
What's going on?
starting in 9 hours.
9 hours the live stream begins. And they could drive up and get potions.
Potions class, alcoholic potions
Get
class.
some of that polyjuice shit.
Hell yeah.
That's fucking dope, man. You want to celebrate Harry Potter's birthday tomorrow? You can jump
on down.
online. Where is it? At your stream?
On our Twitch page, our YouTube, and our Facebook. And also we partnered with MuggleNet, who is like the biggest non-official Harry Potter. So you can watch it on MuggleNet also.
Fucking A. Or if you're here in town, drive up, get yourself some liquor. It's always a good idea.
Wine's
Liquor in a
fine,
car.
Liquor's quicker. Drive-through booze emporium.
There it is, folks. Whereas, as a better man than both of us once said, that's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Did you have a good time, ladies and gentlemen? Did you learn a thing or two? I know I did. And I learned that I'm not going to watch those Fast and Furious movies until I get into my 50s. Until I'm an old man. Until I've lived half a century. Then I think
like
I'm ready.
Tuesday.
Yes. It's coming very soon. But
feel
tonight,
like-
what are the things I was talking about watching?
Man from Uncle.
Man from Uncle. And what was it, Andrew?
Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang.
Yeah, I'm probably going to wind up watching that again.
I know.
I watch that a couple times a year. It's so fucking good. Val Kilmer's great in that too. You know what I just rewatched this week and fucking can't get enough of? The MacGruber movie. Did you ever see it?
I haven't seen all of it.
It is fucking legit hysterical.
Yeah?
I'm telling you, it's worth your time. He is fucking brilliant, Will Forte.
I love Will Forte. There was just something about that movie that...
Go for it.
that
I know, I'm with you. I had a bias. And one day I saw a scene and I was like, that was funny. And then I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's fucking fantastic. I cried so hard. I laughed so hard I cried during one scene.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Okay.
I'll watch MacGruber.
And what do I watch?
Fast and the Furious.
No, that's too many of those. There's only one MacGruber. You got to trade me a 1-for-1. Like you watch MacGruber, I'll watch A Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Okay. All right.
They're aggregate films. Kind of the same movie
old,
when you
same
think
old.
about it.
Like white guys running jumping? Sure.
There it is. All right, so you'll watch MacGruber.
Yes.
Fucking hysterical. And I will watch Man from
And we'll report back
U.N.C.L.E.
here next week.
Next week.
With our feelings.
Same fat time. Oh, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet because we still have to sing happy birthday.
To whom?
To you.
I don't need no song.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I need? Money. Buy a ticket to the Kevin Smith live stream. 50 questions, 50 years, a streaming with Kevin Smith. I don't know where. I think it's you go to smodcast.com for tickets.
Sing me a song at 6 pence, bitch. I want your money.
Yeah, I don't need your wishes. Well, wishes, I need your cash. Somebody was like, "Why are you charging for this?" And I was like, "We gotta pay some bills, man."
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. What?
What is that? Like, what version are you singing?
That's the Stevie Wonder black version of Happy Birthday.
Oh, that was your Stevie Wonder?
No, because I can't do Stevie Wonder.
Fair enough.
That was my like drunk Teddy Pendergrass version.
That was you. Happy
Happy birthday to you. Take your panties off. Happy birthday to you. Shake it down.
You got what I need.
You got what I want.
Oh my God, that was good.
Not bad, right?
Yeah, well, you did have band work, didn't you? Weren't you in a band?
I was the lead singer of a band.
You were a singer.
That was not very good.
Hit it again. Here, like, no bullshit. Try to give your best Teddy, just that line, but at top volume as if we were in 10,000 person arena.
Okay.
Watch your ears, everybody.
You got what I want.
That's pretty fucking good, man.
You got what I need.
My only criticism is bringing that mic closer to you.
I didn't want to blow people's brains out.
I think that's what they're looking for when you're doing Teddy Pendergrass. You got to blow their minds.
And I got to blow their backs out. Because it's Teddy.
It comes from the diaphragm. You got.
You can.
When do you turn 50?
I will be 49 in November.
So I got you by a year.
You got me by a year and change.
I get to be an astronaut. I can tell you what it's like. Maybe save you a trip if you don't want to go when it's time.
To the undiscovered country.
Yes. Oh, I might want to watch that too. Ooh. Every time we do this show, like when I go home, the other week I did go watch The Mist, and I was really fucking sad because it was like 2 a.m. by the time it ended, and I was like, "Fuck, man, that movie hits hard." But I think I don't know. I just watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but now I'm like, remember the end of the movie, like when they do like the PS that was almost shot on video, and it happens after the scene with Val Kilmer where he comes in and he fucking like belts her father in bed and shit, and he's like, "What are you hitting a poor man?" He's like, "Yeah, poor you," and shit. And then he leaves, and you're like, what a fucking weird ending. Then they have this little PS where Robert Downey Jr. is just talking to like the live stream camera or whatever like that, and he's like, "How about that scene with the old man?" He goes, "Psh, psh," right? That was kind of harsh. And he goes, "Fuck him, he's creepy." Oh, I'm watching that movie. I just figured. But I will watch.
Decision made.
Yes, decision fucking made. I will watch. I keep wanting to say A Man for All Seasons. Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. Directed by the Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie? Oh, he always does something entertaining. Did you see his Aladdin or no?
I did see his Aladdin.
And?
It's fine.
Was it a whole new world?
It was not, though.
That is the next T-shirt. It was not, though. That's your review show right there. I wanted to love it. I went in ready to love it. I was ready to embrace it. It was not, though. And then when you liked it instead, it growed on me.
It growed on me. It was not, though. 2 snaps in a circle.
I'm watching it. You make sure you watch MacGruber.
I will.
Everybody out there watch MacGruber.
That's my homework.
Kind of hoping that they get a sequel like way later.
They're going to TV show.
What?
Yeah, the Peacock. They're doing a MacGruber TV show.
Are you fucking... Why isn't this in the news?
Because it's 6 months old, dude.
Is that right?
Yeah.
When is that happening?
Soon. I bet you they would wrap production already.
Happy fucking birthday to me. Oh my God. Finally. Fucking something I'm into is getting second life.
No.
That's fucking useful news. That's something to look forward to.
Boom.
We got to beat this COVID. MacGruber's coming, man. Something to watch. Right on. Fucking that. Well, that's a good reason to rewatch MacGruber.
There you go. Now I
Good
know.
times. Good
And
laughs.
knowing is half the battle.
It's gonna be him though. Will
Yeah,
Forte.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think Kristen Wiig will come back?
I would not be surprised if she did.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much she's going to be in it, but
This is making me so happy. Like, the sad thing is, like, fucking people are watching this and like, oh, he really likes this idea. And then tomorrow morning they'll be like, Kevin Smith died in a car accident on his way home from the Scum Villainy Cantina. And people will be like, he really wanted to see that MacGruber show. What a fucking bummer for him, man.
aw.
If that happens, kids, I lived a good life. And I've enjoyed MacGruber. And you know what? I'll watch the new one from heaven. If there is such a thing. And if not, I'll watch it straight from hell. Which I made Dogma, so I'm pretty sure that's where I'm headed.
I bet you of the two, Hell has a streaming plan.
That's true.
Heaven's like,
must.
read a book.
Yeah. In hell, they're just like, you can watch Crackle. And that's not a judgment on Crackle. I'm just saying.
No, but it totally is. Like, we have nothing but Quibi, sir.
I'm like, Quibi? Well, that's a fine product. You know, they got a show that I like very much on it called Slugfest, coming soon. There it is, man. Did you have a good time? If you did, it's because Marc pulled that fucking news, particularly that Green Hornet story, man. Give it up for Marc Bernardin.
Ooh, yeah, that was a tough find, but I tracked it down.
Good find. Good story. Good ink. There it is, folks. Come back next week. Probably do it Friday night again. This week we did it on Thursday. Next week we might do it on Friday.
Back to Fridays.
Next week we might do it on Saturday. Fuck you. We'll let you know when it's going to happen.
Where are you going to be?
Yeah, we have no. Yeah, exactly. Watch us because we're on. There you go. Thanks for hanging out with us for Fat Man Beyond. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
Tune in next time. Same fat time. Same fat channel. Smodcast.com or
You got Smodcast.com?
It growed on me.
It growed on me.